Peace, peace, greetings, greetings. Thank you for joining us once again for another edition of the EtheReal Journey podcast. All right, happy to be here and happy to have you all with us. All right. All right. With that said, being said, family, we are live on Facebook. Hopefully that stream is going through as well as YouTube live. All right, and thank you for joining us once again. We switching it up a little bit with the format, so bear with us as we continue to evolve with the Ethereal Journey podcast. With that being said, we have on board Brother Pollinator as well as Empress Chi on board and on deck.
Shalom, shalom, everybody.
All right, all right.
All right. Checking in real quick. How you be? How you been? Let me start with Sister Empress. How you be? How you been? Just checking in.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. The weather is warming up, although from what I hear, it's going to get cold again. But at least for the past couple of days, it's been nice and warm, so that's always good for me.
Indeed, I say. All right, give thanks. Thank you for that. And let me just tap in really quick with you once more to see if you have any updates, information for us, anything coming up presently or in the near future.
Actually, yes. As a matter of fact, today, and I was saving it for tonight. Today is Harriet Tubman Ancestral Day. This is the day that actually the great Araminta Ross, also known as Harriet Tubman, made transition on this day. And on this day, we are ready to announce some things in reference to Saint Harriet Tubman, some of the initiatives that we're going to be moving forward with in the next year, leading up to Million Woman March 30. And of course, we're talking about now putting a call out to young students and Black students and young adults. We really are looking for them to assist us in the development of our first Million Woman March Universal Movement sneaker. And it would be the Harriet Tubman or the Araminta sneaker. So we'll talk more about that a little later on.
All right. Excellent. All right. With that being said, thank you for that, Sister Empress. With that being said, let me come over to our brother L Pollinator. How you be? How you been? Just checking in, good brother.
Oh man, I'm good. Captain Uncaged. What's up? What's up, Sister Empress Chi? How you doing?
Hey,
And
Brother Al.
and brother KBA, Knowledge Born Allah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm glad to be here. I'm glad this is our 38th episode of the EtheReal Journey podcast. We growing, We were crawling at first, and then the baby started walking, but now I think we about a teenager, maybe even a young adult at 38, right? You know what I mean? So
Dig.
so we trying to be like Methuselah, we still, we want to hit 969 years, full throttle, you know what I mean? So I
Um,
think the baby is getting to be a younger man, and I think we'll continue to evolve, transcend, and ascend as we continue to uplift our people, continue to bring forth righteous truth and justice and all of the good things that we bring forth on this podcast. So with that being said, I'm gonna just say upward, forward, onward. I'm fantastic today, and I'm ready to blast off, man, on the Ethereum, man. Let's hit places in the cosmos unknown and some known. Hey, let's do what we do. I
all
yield.
all right. Yes, indeed. Much appreciated. And thank you for that addition, brother Pollinator. Now, I'm going to bring in onto the stage one of our guest correspondents for this evening. And, coming from East Germany, East Europe, I should say, tapping in from Germany. So let me bring her in and, let her be introduced to the family and tap in really quickly. Let me add to the stage Sister Shayla.
Mm-hmm.
Peace, everyone. Nice to be with you again in this new format. It's a surprise for me. Thank you for that.
All right, Sister Shayla, thank you for joining us. And if you could, just introduce yourself to the listening audience and where you're tapping in from. And I just want to check in with you real quick, see how you been.
So, my name is Sheila Silva. Originally, I'm from Brazil. I live in Europe, in Germany. Yes, so I love to be connected with African people everywhere where I can. I'm doing well. I came back today from the US. I was in Baltimore. I spent 1 week there with also friends, community, family. It was amazing. And yes, today I came back and I'm here to support you, to bring certain insights, depends on of the topic that you are bringing today.
All right, excellent, excellent. Thank you once again for joining us, Sister Shayla. All right, excelente. Hopefully, we'll have Brother Knowledge joining us shortly, beaming on to the Ethereum. You might be doing some terraforming, you know what I'm saying, off on the moon, you know what I mean, and getting things right for us to make some transitions, interplanetarily, all right, and some of our satellite. Okay, with that being said, thank you once again for joining us on the Theory Journey podcast, coming to you every Tuesday Eastern Standard Time. All right, and with our platform in transition. Right now, currently, we are on StreamYard. You know what I mean? Shout out to them. And matter of fact, I might save that for our next one until they start cutting us a check. But but anyways, you know what I'm saying. We also are able to stream live. We should be on Facebook Live as well as YouTube Live. Okay, so the family can tap in with us there. And we're changing up, switching up the format just a little bit. We are bringing on guest correspondence, right into the yard, live in the yard. You know what I'm saying? So that's going to be selected individuals, as we bring on guest correspondence, and then the rest of the listening audience will be able to tap in via Facebook Live as well as YouTube Live to add in any commentary virtually. All right, so we are switching that format up just a little bit. So bear with us as we continue to grow and develop, family. And I thank you once again for joining us on this edition, 38th edition of the EJP.
Check our chat, Cap.
All right, checking the chat, checking the chat. Whoa. Okay, okay. We having some issues on the which call it. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can reset on the live. But while in the meantime, in between time, let me queue up some of the initial topic subject matters for this evening, and in the meantime, in between time, let's see if I can get our Facebook Live, get that right. All right, so let me come. Of course, we're going to start. Well, not of course, but today we're going to start off with Universal Black History and Black Facts, and we're going to have some keynotes from our very own illustrious co-host with the most, Empress Chi, affectionately known as, also known as Dr. Felechi Onesu. All right, and so with that being said, let me get ready to queue up the videos for tonight, and we're going to get some commentary from Sister Empress and a hot tick. All right, give me 1 second. Okay, okay, let me cue that up, get that right, and then we'll see if we have any questions or comments from the listening audience. All right, hold on, let me come here. Let me okay, okay, cool, cool, cool. Let me cue that up. Let me share my screen. Let me share the screen, family. Here we go. Share. Okay, boom. Boom, pop. Okay, got that queued up. Boom. Here we go. And let's let it rock.
Stop scrolling. Did you know that in 1997, nearly 1 million Black women gathered in Philadelphia for the Million Woman March? This historic event, led entirely by Black women, was a powerful call for unity, justice, and social change. Unlike other marches, this demonstration focused on healing and empowering Black communities, addressing issues like poverty, healthcare, and education. Despite its massive impact, it's rarely mentioned in history books. Every face in the crowd was a testament to resilience and hope. Like and follow to keep Black history alive every day. Stop.
All right, all right. Let me stop my screen share there. But that's not all. But wait, there's more. All right, let me stop my screen share there. Let me come out of that and let me get to the next video. Let me go ahead and share that. All right, give me a hot tick on that. Hold on 1 second. Give me a hot tick on that, and let's get to the next clip. I got three, and I'm so nice had to play it twice, and so I got three clips. I'm gonna play with you. I'll play for you, and then we want to come to Sister Empress for a brief keynote as we continue to celebrate Women's History Month and highlight tremendous contributions of Black women in history, her story, right? And to make sure we are paying attention to not only the history of the past, but the history of the present and the future, and to make sure we give our salutations, salutes, and flowers to our living legends. All right, all right. All right, let me go ahead and stop the screen share there. I got one more for you all. Okay, and then we're going to come to Sister Empress for a keynote. All right, it's a oldie, but a goodie. All right, going to give you all some brief clips from the actual 97 original Million Woman March. All right, let me share my screen one more again, family. Here we go. All right, let's let it rock. This actual scene from the an aerial view, family, from the original 1997 Million Woman March. All right, 2.5 million people converged in Philadelphia on October the 25th, 1997. All right, so this is some footage.
They said this could not be done. They said we did not have names. They said we did not have money. They said we did not have PR. But what we do have is power.
All right, all right. All right, family. So that let me stop my screen share. Let me stop my screen share. Okay, I think I stopped it already. Okay. All right, family. With that being said, that now again, in celebrating Women's History Month, all right, and in our subject matters, in our topics of delving into universal Black history and Black facts, we are celebrating the one and the only Dr. Felicio Nesu, also known as Empress Chi, one of the illustrious co-hosts on the EtheReal Journey podcast right here, family. All right. So with that being said, we want to come over to Sister Empress for a brief keynote, talking about what's going on, what has been, what's present, and what will be happening in the future with the monumental, historic, and phenomenal Million Woman March.
All right. Well, thank you, Brother Lumumba and Al, and of course our brother Knowledge Born Allah, because you brothers have really stepped up as usual, and really, showed how important it is for our brothers to take a role and take their place in the development of this movement, and that's what it's been from day one. It's been the development of a universal movement specifically and exclusively for women and girls of African descent. And now you will hear me kind of use another definition or another word when I say African. I'm going to also now interchange and say Akabalan. Because again, one of my teachers, our teachers, of course, was Dr. Ben Johannan, and he taught us that one of the original names for Africa was, in fact, Akabalan. So, to honor him and his work and his teachings, we're going to also utilize that name as well. And we feel that that's going to also help us to differentiate who we are. When you hear us say Akabalan, you will know specifically that it is a specific group of folk who are identifying as such. Since in this day and age, there seems to be a lot of ambiguity about who people are and all of that, and we say that's a good conversation, but we got business to take care of. We got things to do. So while folks are figuring out A, B, N, or C, we're going to move forward. And so you will hear us talk more about plebiscite or pre-plebiscite sessions, shall I say, and other things that are really relevant to the growth and development of us as a people. Now, going back to MWM, as Brother Moomba mentioned, it has been almost 30 years since it happened. And we are the only entity from that time period that has continued on a regular, ongoing basis to do the work. And so now we are moving forward in such a way that we are making certain that we do what the vision really was about. And that was, again, to make sure that a global movement for women and girls of African descent, Akabalanian descent, original people's descent globally could connect, build, grow, develop along with our families and communities. We know that, of course, Brother Malcolm said more than 60 years ago that the most disrespected person in America was and is the Black woman. And we say that that's even more so truer today, as we see now thousands of Black women and girls missing all over the country, but yet we're seeing and hearing little being said and done. Where all of this other stuff that's going on in other countries and so forth seems to take a lot of time and priority over what's going on right within our communities and families. So, needless to say, to do our Million Woman March 30 next year is definitely not only on time, it is absolutely necessary. But here's where it gets to be not only as important, but very different. And shall I say, it's going to really set a tone that needs to be put in place. Remember, the brothers was the Day of Atonement. We say we're setting a new tone. And so, with that, there's never been a global movement for Black women. And yes, I use the word Black for a very specific reason. For those sisters who understand a universal concept, we're saying to you, we have now something specifically for you. Starting on March the 30th, I believe, we're going to start our rites of passage uh, kinds of sessions and really help our women and girls to grow and develop in a way that is universally balanced, universally empowered, and so forth. Again, we encourage folks to adopt a nationality. That's fine. But just keep in mind that when you talk about nationalities, you're also talking about war. There's no nationality, there's no country, there's no nation that has not engaged in war. And with that, that means often, more than likely, innocent blood has been shed. So be real clear. Uh, of course, you want to focus on the nationality because that's part of the game. That's part of life. That's part of whatever. But be real clear that there is a universal concept and reality, and that's what we're talking about. We are connecting from a universal context. That right there is not something that is man-made or woman-made, but essentially it is of a totally higher order. And with that said, it is in and of itself. And that's what we're aspiring and now doing, bringing and raising up the original mother. That's what we're talking about doing. So again, you will hear us talk about the universal Black woman and not the Black that Black's Law Dictionary or the European governments or any, not their definition. Why would people want to still follow what they say? Haven't they proven to be not only destructive in all things that are relevant to us, but again, to continue to believe what they say and try to follow what they do and how they do it and go through the approval of what they say and think. We're not trying to do that. So again, for those sisters who know or feel or want to know something different, something that has not been brought forward, that has not been discussed in terms particularly of the original mother, the primordial mother. Well, again, we have something for you. Now, earlier today or earlier in the program, I mentioned that today is Harriet Tubman, and we call her Saint. And that's just one of the things you're going to hear us now bring forward. We have our own pantheon, meaning we have our own concepts. We're applying self determination in a practical manner. So we now will bring forward 30 sister saints. These are Black women, African women, Akebelani women, original women that have really created or brought forward a certain dynamic for us. And so every year we will commemorate, celebrate these 30 women as part of the MWM Universal Movement Sisterhood. And of course, with that, we do have a brotherhood too, which we'll talk a little bit about later. The BIS, Brothers in Support. In fact, they're meeting on Sunday, this Sunday, to talk about how we're going to now look at a greater extent the issue of security, not just for Men Women March 30, but for an ongoing development. We're going to be introducing as part of the Men Women March 30 something that we call the Black Print Agenda 25. I'm sorry, it's really 2530, but 25 is over, meaning 2025. So we're now presenting 26 to 27. But it's really a 5-year action plan. And we're looking to be held accountable, meaning by the end of 2030, we want our people to see the things that we have actually accomplished. And we'll be introducing that platform this year of what it is we're looking to accomplish by the end of 3030. Lastly, although there's much, much more, and during this whole month, we'll be sharing it with you with special sessions. This week, there's stuff going on at the United Nations, and we'll be sharing some of that with you on Saturday's podcast for New Day Resurrection and Liberation. But again, one of the major things right now is we must have membership. We have to show the world that Black women can do something more than just come together and organize around issues. We have to show that we have the capability to do intelligent kinds of programming, projections, and other kinds of things with a timetable, with an intention of building independent institutions, etc. We want to make sure that we're able to provide now, for lack of a better word, scholarships. Our people need holistic folk, or folk who are trained or ready to provide holistic health and healing services. So we want to make sure that we're able to provide for some of them the capability to get the kinds of certifications and things of that nature. Also, in terms of business, we want to be able to provide micro loans to some of our women when it comes to business. But remember, we're not talking about doing business as usual. Our business people have to be inclined in a certain kind of way in terms of rebuilding our communities, making certain that our families are stronger, etc. Our membership is not just about getting a membership card or, just being able to, come together for a social gathering. And there are components that do that. But overall, we are designed to advance, to continue legacies, and now to deal with sustainability. We want to make sure we're able to educate our children ourselves. We want to make certain we're able to publish our own educational materials along with other types of written and visual types of things in terms of media. That means we want to produce our own music. And you heard me mention earlier, our next step is to begin to look at providing or developing our own clothing line as well as footwear. And with that, we're looking for some of our students to be involved in that. And again, next year, we'll be ready to literally showcase the various kinds of designs and other things that our students, young adults are bringing forward, and certainly our women as well. So that just gives you a general idea of some of what is actually coming. And again, we're not just talking about connecting our sisters here in the US. We're now talking about globally. And we know that there's some conflicts right now, there's some discussions right now that need to be addressed. But what we're saying is for those highly melanated women that we could say are black, and not just because of skin coloration, but because of the consciousness in terms of the universe. For those who are interested in coming together, then we want them to be a part of the MWM Universal Movements. This sisterhood is real. It's about getting one another's backs, supporting one another, helping one another, and moving in a manner that will represent that divine, matriarchal, and feminine energy of the universe. So again, we're not talking about what you call yourself based on your nationality. We're not talking about what to call yourself based on what some European said was right, wrong, or whatever. We're talking about comprehending, understanding what we know is de facto, which is everything came out of what? And when it comes to the physical form, out of whom? We're claiming it, reclaiming it, developing it, embracing it, and making sure certain that it can no longer be pushed under again. So I'm going to yield on those points. I hope that those who have heard some of what I've said in the context of embracing it will now respond by contacting us at nationalmwm at aol.com. Again, nationalmwm at aol.com. And also, you can reach us now. We have a new email address, and it is official mwm30 at gmail.com. If you want to be a part of now the organizing for MWM30, you want to use that email address. And again, it is official MWM30. Membership now is open. We're also looking now to be able to crown our first MWM Universal Queen for next year. So the registration is now open for that. The application is open for that. You must be a member though. So membership starts at $30 for the entire year. It's a general membership. You are not obligated to do anything else. If you do want more responsibility or more interaction, we have those kinds of memberships as well as including alumni membership. So again, if you want more information, you can email nationalmwm at aol.com or official MWM30 at gmail.com, or you can text 267 636 3802. Lastly, May 9th, that's a National Day of Awareness and Action. We're asking our sisters in particular, but our people in general, do something on that day that addresses the issue of missing, kidnapped, sexually violated, human and sex trafficked. Again, May 9th is the kickoff of a day of awareness and action. We're suggesting that folks find the photos in your city. It's very easy to do. If you Google missing, particularly black women, girls, usually the police department will have some thing there that they will show you the photos. So we're asking our people to download those photos, send them out, print them out, let us distribute these missing black women and girls nationwide. And that is a start. We're also asking to have conversations. How do we deal with greater safety? This is something that must now happen in our communities. Self-defense, but also protection, other protective safety measures. These are some of the conversations that can happen on that day. Again, May 9th, it's a national call. And again, our brothers are going to play a major role in the future, in particular, in helping to make our women and girls safer. So again, if you want more information, if you want to volunteer, get membership, by all means, please again email us at nationalmwm at aol.com. That's nationalmwm at aol.com or official MWM30 at gmail.com. Back to you, Brother Lumumba.
All right, yes, indeed. And thank you, Sister Empress, for that addition and giving us that wonderful information concerning the historic and monumental Million Woman March and the upcoming programs, initiatives that are happening presently and moving forward into the 29th anniversary celebration this year and leading up into the big 30, the 30-year anniversary in 2027. All right, family. So make sure you continue to tap in, pay attention, share and support these phenomenal works with the Million Woman March and Universal Movements. All right, family. Let me come to the ethereal journalist and also with our correspondents, our East Europe European correspondent or correspondents from East Europe, and get any weigh-ins, any comments, any questions from the panel. Uh,
I have a question about the missing girls. I just try to understand. Of course, you don't know what happened, but the reason for that, or some of these girls do have an information of maybe one or two were found, and what they say, what kind. Because now I don't know if we can talk about that, but we know this case about. The case that is going on with these files. Yes, I will not say the names, but you know what I'm talking about. Involved with people from the government, because I don't know if I can talk about that there. And I know they didn't get black women for the purpose to abuse them sexually, but maybe I really try to understand what happened. It's for sexual traffic or
Oh, I'm
organ
sorry,
things,
Sister Sheila. Though
or
we can't say sex on the platform because we are on live on, so we just use the word human trafficking,
oh,
or we say
human trafficking. Thank you. Human
mhm.
trafficking, yes, for organs or something like that. If you maybe have a contact with someone who was found and what this person said, just that, just for me to understand what is going on.
Okay. So you're asking if we have any records or correspondence.
Yes, yes, yes.
Mhm.
Record of someone who
So
was found, what this person said.
okay.
Mm.
So what we're working on, Sister Sheila, is an actual summit. The summit is going to provide an abundance amount of information in addition to training, because this is very, very in depth and very complex. And so there's different variables, there's different levels. And some of it is even connected to, if not government entities or agencies, certainly some of the people have been identified as being involved in this. So this is a subject that we can't spend like 5 or 10 minutes on and really, get some real kind of, insight. So we're looking to do a summit so that for 3, 4 days we're able to review, we're able to exchange information, reports, and things of that nature. Because again, it's a multi-level situation. Even when we start talking about organs, we can show now that there's something going on with, again, human trafficking as it pertains to organs as well. So, again, there's foster care. There is a lot of different moving pieces. And again, to really understand, understand the depth of this and why in our communities in the U.S., there's little to no real I'll say, kind of aggressive action that is being taken. There's reasons for that. And so, again, there is a summit that that is being planned. We'll be announcing it soon, and it will provide you and others that are interested with, again, a lot of information.
Thank you for the information, just for me to understand, to try, maybe even to support in certain way. Thank you.
All right, all right. Much appreciated. Thank you for those additions, Sister Shayla and Sister Empress. All right, with that being said, I want to open up the floor for our EJP panelists and co-hosts. Any further questions or comments from the keynote that was given by Dr. Filet, affectionately known as Empress Chi?
Yeah, man. It's like 20, what, 8 years that was ago, 1995, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No, 1997, and
1997. I'm sorry.
it'll be 29 years this year.
Well, yeah,
This year's
28, but 29 will be in October. So, yeah, so far it's been 28. This coming October 25th will be the 29th anniversary commemoration celebration of the Million One March and Universal Movements.
check 1, 2. That's what I figured. But I just wanted to commend Sister Chi. I'm glad you showed that footage as well as some of the more recent things that have been popping up on social media, because this is Women's Her Story Month, and her story is just as important as his story. And the Million Woman World March, or the Million Woman March in 1997, was her story being told, and it was our story as a people being told from a matriarchal, motherly, daughterly, sisterly perspective. And that's what we still need even to this day. We need to bring forth the divine feminine, because the divine feminine is what helped created everything in the universe. Our queen mother, our queen mother of the galaxy, the queen mother of the universe, the queen mother of the cosmos, whatever you want to call her. But she is in existence. And this patriarchal society has tried to eliminate and erase her. One of the things I do as paying homage to our queen mother is I pin her a video from Boys to Men, Mama song, on all of my social media sites to let people know this is my mentality. This is my understanding of who we are and where we came from as the primordials of the universe. And it didn't come from a 3 sausage party on a roll. You know, it didn't come from a patriarchal, religious, or theological abstract side of the things. It came from a woman. So I try to inform people to let them know, stop drinking the dude Kool-Aid, the Vatican Kool-Aid, whatever, any religious Kool-Aid, because it's not telling the truth about a woman being the mother of civilization, but it was as above first before it became so below in this, I don't want to say cursed 3D matrix, but I'm going to just say this delusional 3D matrix simulation game that we're playing right now. A lot of people are playing this game, and when they find out, when they transition to become an ancestor and realize that no one has paid homage to the Queen Mother, the original matrix, that's what matrix means, a womb. We come from a womb. And the only place I remember a womb being from is from a woman, not no dude. The day that dudes start having babies, whether it was from a spiritual perspective or a physical, natural perspective, that's when I'm going to just say, yo, just disappear me from out of this universe. I don't even want to be a part of it. But I know these things are not the truth. It was a woman, and her story will be told, because Queen Mother is bringing ego deaths, right and left and right, to all mankind and womankind, avatars, meat suits. So be prepared, because she is here and she ain't playing games. And I just want to continue to commend and raise up the original Black woman, because from her womb, from her portal, from her vortex, from her gateway, from her doorway came all things in this natural physical realm of time and space, as well as the eternal ethereal realm. And with that being said, upward, forward, onward. Let's just keep this real, truthful train rolling.
And one quick sidebar, if I may, and this is a conversation for another time, but I want to at least put it out there. I want our sisters and our brothers too to really think about, why was the Million Woman March kind of marginalized? Why particularly people and females in particular found no need to continue to not only support, but to allow the system to push it to the side. And I want folks to really know and understand what that's really about, because most of what you hear about that becomes popular is connected to the government, a political party, or a religion. And Million Woman March had none of that. It was not advocating any of that in that manner. And so to generate $25 million to bring 2.5 million people physically together, when there was no Facebook, Instagram, or none of that, to not have a figurehead who had access to political capabilities, resources, had manpower, and all of that. This really was something that frightened the system, because for that to happen on the grassroots level and to be headed up by women, and to be started by one woman in particular, that was very dangerous. And so the system did everything that it could to make certain that it could not rise in the manner that it could have. And so we have to hold people accountable now. And sisters have to be sure not to let the enemy, the haters, and the other usurpers and so forth, don't let them get away with attempting to downplay, minimize, marginalize this movement. It's up to us to bring it forward. And so our time is now.
Ashe. All right, thank you for that addition, or those additions, Brother Pollinator and Sister Empress. All right, I'm not sure if we have Brother Knowledge on board. Doesn't look like it. All right. All right, family. So with that being said, let's transition once again, celebrating the phenomenal contributions of Black women to his story, our story, her story. All right, as we continue to celebrate Women's History Month and the contributions of Black women. Again, we are paying tribute and giving triple salutes to Dr. Philae Chionesu, also affectionately known as Empress Chi, right here on the EtheReal Journey podcast. All right, who is the architect and creator, uh, the orchestrator of the original October 25th, 1997 Million Women March. All right. All right, family. With that being said, I think we're going to touch base really quickly. Let me see if I can get this in. Uh, there was a little bit of a kerfuffle that has been developing on social media. I believe the original post that I was looking for was actually deleted. But let me see if I can put into the chat the well one of the more recent posts, and just going to touch base on it briefly, family. Then we're gonna actually save the further conversation for a later iteration. All right. So right now we're talking about some aspects of the American freedmen, right? And also dealing with aspects of the 13th Amendment. So, and within that, there has been some more recent additions into that movement. Okay, I'm not sure. Into that movement as it pertains to further developments of organizational structures. All right. One of those has been Dr. Umar Johnson, who has thrown his hat into the ring as it pertains to the organizing of a body in terms of the American freedmen. Okay. All right. So let me just add in really quickly. Let me add that into the. Let me see if I can add that into the notes, and then let's come to the commentary on that. Let me see if I can add that to. All right, let me add that in real quick, family, and I'll see if I can come to that post. All right, add that in. Okay, I think that should be okay. All right, let me check. All right, I'll just add in the comments. Okay, I didn't mean to put it there, but anyway, let me go ahead and can I click on it? I can't click on it there. Interesting. Okay, let me see if I can put it in the chat. I got it now. See if I can put it here. Now, again, family, this is some brief commentaries that that we have a branch here that deals with the American freedmen. They're actually looking to build legislatively and be able to open up an office of the American freedmen here in Philadelphia. All right, let me go ahead and share my screen here. And as I said, Dr. Umar was added into he's thrown his hat into the ring as it pertains to developing an organizational structure around the American freedmen. Now, there's been a little bit of controversy there, family. There's been some infighting that has been happening with the quote unquote American freedmen, the FBAs. Previously, there was a split with ADOS. All right, FBA is Foundational Black Americans, all right, which is um, kind of in tandem with the American freedmen as of recently. And being able to pull on some constitutional legislation as far as the 13th Amendment is concerned. Now, there's also been some pushback with the FBA, and even more than that, there's been some contention that has been developed, and it continues to kind of be exacerbated through social media with the Pan African, quote unquote, Pan African community. All right. And so there's some uh, contentions amongst the different factions of blacks, dealing with aspects of nationality as it pertains to Foundational Black Americans, FBA, and that of the diaspora with the Pan African approach, and how that intersects with Black nationalism. All right. So with that being said, let me share my screen really quickly, family. And like I said, I can't. I believe the original post that I was looking to share has been removed because there has been some pushbacks. All right, there's some jabs that were being thrown. Okay, from our kind of one of the leads here in Philadelphia. All right, which is Bono Hagen's. All right, and as you see the post here, family, in dealing with the 13th Amendment, he has some characterizations that he's been putting forward on social media. All right, so you just want to touch base on this briefly and kind of address some of the things that have been developing with this. Yeah, I want to look at it. I'm looking at it really as attempts to kind of stoke the fires and to get more, possibly more notoriety as far as with alternative media within the social medias as well. So this looks like an attempt to kind of initiate engagement, whether good, bad, or indifferent, with those who are in opposition to the idealistic structure that is being put forth by Hagen's. All right, so this is some of the illustrations that have been put forth. Okay, and indirectly or subliminal, well, not really that subliminal, but jabs at Dr. Umar, again, who has thrown his hat into the ring and in the development of a organization himself dealing with the American freedmen. All right. But coming from a Pan African perspective, as Dr. Umar has been known to tout. All right. And so that is in conflict with some of the ideology of individuals such as Hagen's with the 13th Amendment approach and his perspective as it pertains to the American freedmen and the office that he is attempting to initiate right here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. All right. Okay, so he has downed himself as uh, 13th Amendment man. Okay, and then this is just some of the illustrations that he has put forth and developed. All right, currently with his um, seemingly political campaign. All right. Let me stop my screen share there, family, and let me come to you all for some brief commentary. All right. Let me come to you all. Let me come to you, the ethereal journalist. Let me bring back Sister Shayla as well. But let me come to ethereal journalist first, and then I'm gonna come to Sister Shayla if she has any questions or comments based on these recent developments. All right. Let me open up the floor. Ethereal journalist. What say you?
Yeah, I would like to hear Sister Empress Chief's perspective first and foremost, since she brought this to our attention, which was a great conversation we had earlier this afternoon concerning this being a future problem. Now, I don't know. the brother who actually is the one that put this out there, that created the firestorm amongst the FBAs and the freedmans of whatever, you know. But it's important because it's going to all tie into how we continue to have these flying monkey business nonsense where we cannot get together as a people to demand what is due to us and should be repaired to us for what we've done from building this this so-called nation from the ground floor and up. But these are the things when you put in Dr. Brother Umar Johnson into the mix. And you know, I bought the subject matter in the conversation was that a few weeks ago he was on the hot seat with I don't know if it was the feds that was on him for potential fraud for that school system situation. So I'm trying to figure out who's his handlers at this point in time, for even them to be able to bring this nonsense on social media. And I don't know if he's even responding to Brother Hagen's or not. But to me, it's a bunch of monkey business. It's a bunch of flying monkey business. And there got to be a witch behind all this. Got to be a witch from the castle behind all of this. So that's my perspective. And I still got to look into it a little bit further so I won't have to go into some serious commentary about what my true feelings are about it and who I know really is behind it. But nevertheless, it just disturbs me to see people online doing this kind of nonsense when it's all, we have one common situation and one common particular goal to reach, and that's y'all owe. Now it's time to run us our goddamn money. Period. So FBA, Freedmen's Association, Pan-Africanism or whatever, I don't give a flying you know what. Let's come together somehow and lock this in Cobra, ATAC, all these groups, man. And they all got political aspirations. And it's sad because it looks like a bunch of flying monkeyism, a bunch of gatekeepingism, you know, a bunch of everything. That's why we can't never grow as a collective, because everybody got their hidden agendas. We know that. I don't care if you're Boule. I don't care if you black nobility. I don't care if you Moorish science. I don't care about none of that crap. It's ridiculous. And the universe is responding to it too, by the way. A lot of people ain't going to make the transition from the 3D to the 5D because they're not just ready for it. Too much hatred, too much jealousy, too much envy, too much foolishness associated with us as the original primordial peoples that come from those bloodlines and lineages, not religions, but bloodlines and lineages of kings and queens continue on in this foolish ass behavior. So with that being said, that's just going to be my soliloquy for right now. I yield.
All right. Give thanks. Thank you for that addition, Brother Pollinator. And let me come to Sister Shayla. Any questions or comments on this recent development?
Oh, comment. So first of all, I'm live here. Maybe people are following you. It depends on their own political understanding. They will call me Tether. Yes, because I'm not a black
No, we
American.
don't get down like that over here with the EtheReal Journey. But
But
no, I feel you.
I will not get offended because I know I am not the Tether. I truly believe that we all deserve reparations, but you specifically in the United States, you deserve more than all of the diaspora because it's your fight comparing to other diaspora. And I'm from also a descendant of slave people, and we are not so far, not political, nothing. I told you, maybe we had this conversation. I understand why. It doesn't mean that I agree, yes, but I understand why these terms people try to delineate. I understand, and many of the stuff that they say, unfortunately, is also true from the side from the diaspora and continent. It's a fact. I will never deny that. But this is what the brother said previously. These kind of divisions, right, will not bring you, and I'm talking specifically in the United States because there you have a lot of these divisions. The brother brought everything in a very good way. The people have their own agendas. They, in the end of the day, the most of them, they want to be a part of the system. Yes, integrate in different ways. And about Umar Johnson, I follow his work. I used to follow more. He's, I would say, a brother who has a lot of knowledge, but it's not something new because you have this culture of black nationalism, black this and that, very deep. He's not something that is new there. But the point is, where is the credibility? Yes, he started with black Pan-Africanism, with this school that unfortunately what I heard, he didn't open the school, yes, and now he's trying to get another audience, maybe because this FBA movement is something huge, because and there is an effect because there are a lot of platforms, even scholars talking about that, yes, and how maybe dangerous it can be. But I also understand the frustration that the people feel. And Omar Johnson, unfortunately, through his history right now with his school, he's not bringing any credibility. Even if he would do something, people will not follow him. Yes, and it would be good, like the brother said, if though specifically for you trying to get your reparation what you deserve, that you could come a main agenda. You could have a main agenda. Yes, what is the point? We want to have our reparation, our money, or I don't know what, and try to come together with these goals, because in the way how you have the black bourgeoisie, it's huge there. You have the religious folks, that is also a deep problem everywhere where we are as African people. In the United States, you also have your divisions, your denominations, and everything. It's also something that you don't bring you forward. So it's to find a way to have an agenda, clear agenda. It's reparation. It's not about religion. It's not about political party. It's not about complexion. You know what I mean? And how you find a way for that, I think, is also very important, that you find a way that you specifically from the United States get this reparation. I agree with these FBA people that the others who are immigrants, they should fight for reparation, what the most of them don't do in the countries where their ancestors were enslaved. They shouldn't get your money. This is my opinion, yes.
All right, excellent, and thank you for those additions, Sister Shayla. And once again, family, there's been a lot of infighting, a lot of divisive type of engagements and conversations, as it pertains to, and this has kind of been growing and ongoing from we're not African to we're not black, and these different aspects of divisions that comes in. Instead of folks saying, okay, this is what I believe and this is what I profess, you have situations where other ideologies are being torn down in order to build up folks' platforms, which I'm in total opposition of. I believe all of these things can work in tandem. All right, and folks just have their different perspectives and places and positions, but to let these things be divisive measures, I believe is counterintuitive, right? And just playing more into the divide and conquer type of strategies that has been utilized ever since, right? When you're talking about dealing with the Willie Lynch letter and that whole aspect of psychology or that psychosis that has developed, with putting one against the other, and then the powers that be, the enemy from beyond doesn't really have to lift a finger. You can just watch us tear each other apart, right? And then save less for the battle, actually against the enemy that is oppressing us all, which is imperialism, neocolonialism, and the aspects of injustices, racism, bigotry, and those systems that are created in order to systematically keep people oppressed. All right, and consistently disregarded, and a underclass, all right, a permanent underclass, not only within America, but again, these things span across the globe as it pertains to African descended people, right, melanated people, black people, all right, native and indigenous people. Okay, with that being said, oh yeah, and we had an excellent, to tie those things together, we had an excellent episode, a special edition of New Day, where, oh no, actually we were on their platform, and I got to, shout out to Sister Anita for bringing us a presentation. She representing in Cobra, one of the progressive individuals within that organization who brought us a different viewpoint, a different perspective in looking at reparations from the standpoint of technology. All right. And so you had a great presentation that introduced a reparations on a platform of developing cryptocurrency, right, and using a blockchain in order to secure an economical atmosphere and have self governance as it pertains to a platform mechanism economically to get in funds or manage funds that's dealing with reparations, and to be able to have a global perspective within that, right, dealing with smart contracts and things of that nature, and so that there are itemized actions as it pertains to what funds go to whom, right, locally, nationally, and internationally, right. And so with cryptocurrency not having to be specifically engaged with U.S. currency. So that opens up the global arena, so not only being able to hold the United States responsible for their uh, 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 you know connections and responsibilities with the transatlantic slave trade, and having responsibilities and accountabilities as it pertains to reparations, but also opening that up to the global perspective as well, and saying, okay, well, we're not just basing on US dollars, but also euros, also francs, because when you talk about the cryptocurrency is not based on just one continental denomination, all right, or one nation's denomination, all right. So that would allow us to hold other countries responsible as well in their part on a global perspective. With that being said, let me come over to Sister Empress. I know she got knocked off the back again, all right, and get your perspective on some of the things that we have shared. We just shared some of the information. I found a post with uh, Brother Hagen's concerning the dissension and the contention that has been mounting with different factions that are being created as pertains to the American freedmen, Dr. Umar throwing his hat in the ring, the 13th Amendment, and the divisive factions that have developed with the FBA, ADOS, Black Nationals, as well as Pan Africans. All right. So let me bring you in to that aspect of the conversation currently. Sister Empress, questions or comments?
Okay, thank you, Brother Lamumba. So, one of the things that I want to add is I think it's very important that as these things develop, that we begin to do a kind of analyzation and just really watch carefully. This thing of reparations or the issue of reparations is definitely going to develop further. It's important to know where there's opportunities as opposed to genuine wanting justice for our people. So at some point, folks need to kind of look to see who was doing these things, and he's talking about reparations, or who was doing that prior to it becoming a big thing like it is now, or as it is growing. Why is it that people are jumping in all of a sudden when they see the momentum building, but yet did little to nothing to help it grow and develop? I think those are some of the crucial questions that have to be looked at in terms of integrity. So on one end, of course, everyone should be talking about reparations, but I think at some point we have to also look at accountability in the context of, who's zooming who, meaning, who is really like hoodwinking us and using valid concerns and issues that we know is important, but who is really using that stuff in such a way that the genuineness and the authenticity is not really there? I think it behooves us to begin to examine that. The other thing we want to pay close attention to is I definitely support some of what really all of the groups. I mean, they all have something that I think is can be supported or is noteworthy. I think it is also important, though, that we are very careful. And this was mentioned earlier with the enemy being able to use certain things against us. So we have to really pay closer attention to that too. Um, the one thing that we know is that there are what some call continental Africans who have been bashing black folks in America. There are some who have done that. But I think it's kind of injurious to a greater extent when we start lumping everybody all into the same category. Because that's not going to, that not only does justice, it's not going to be a thing of justice, that's going to be a big problem down the road as well. So my point is that we've got to be a little more astute. We got to be a little more.
Uh-oh, looks like we might have lost currently Sister Empress. Hopefully she'll be back momentarily. But yes, I agree to that point as well. To be able to typecast, an entire group or populace of people, just on a base level is just disingenuous, right? Because black people are not a monolith. Okay, so you have different ideologies, you have different perspectives, even from one group. Okay, so like I myself, you know, I don't go with or, I go with and, right? So I consider myself a black nationalist and a Pan Africanist and an American freedman and FBA. Okay, I want it all. I don't know what other folks are talking about, but I want it all. I want my piece of the pie from North America to Africa, right, and everywhere in between where I deserve it. Okay, so folks can go with their individualistic approaches, but again, I don't think that's a correct approach. Because why I myself, I'm not limiting in myself. So again, I want it all. Coming from present day all the way to the ancestral realm. Understanding that yes, there was black folks that were already here. Quote unquote. Those who are native to this land because they superseded the aspect of colonization and the transatlantic slave trade. They were black folks who we were able to circumnavigate the globe, family. So I don't even know why people is really stuck in this mentality. We were everywhere on every continent. We're native to the entire planet, and that's my perspective. I'm global Africanist. You know what I'm saying? I'm a global divine melanated entity, right? So I mean, not only am I global, but I'm also, universal, right? So, taking my lineage all the way, to the cosmos, right? Here on the ethereal journey. All right, family. So let me just add into that, into the, add that portion into the conversation. All right. So just something to think about, some food for thought, perhaps. All right. As Brother L would say, chew the meat and spit out the bones. And I would say chew the fruit and spit out the seed. All right. Sometimes you can eat the seed too. You know what I'm saying? If it's all consumable, you know what I mean? If it's all beneficial to your well being. You know what I mean? I eat them grapes, I eat the seeds too. All right, family. So, just again, some food for thought, perhaps. We don't always have to go with or. We can go with and at the same time. Let me open up the floor one more time, one more again for questions and comments.
Yeah, man, you got to eat the meat up and spit out the bones because if you eat a fish whole, you'll be choking alone. That's some
Yes,
bars right there if you didn't catch that.
bars, bars. With that being said, because for the vegans on the, you know what I mean, on the
Oh, yeah.
line, I would say, you know what I mean, you eat the fruit, spit out the seed. You know
Spit
what I'm
out the
saying?
seeds. Same
You know what I
concept.
mean? Same
Yep.
type of concept. And then sometimes, like I said, you can eat the seed too. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Them grapes, I eat the whole thing. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So sometimes it's all beneficial, for us and to us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
And what you
family,
said, for me, it encompasses 360 degrees. The fact that all of that encompasses being a divine sovereign being. I mean, I have sovereignty within myself first and foremost before I can claim sovereignty of any land. I have to first possess my own land, be strong and stay strong in my own, bloodlines and lineages, not based on religion, not based on indoctrination, but based on my DNA, my makeup, my story that was written within my codes, within my algorithm, within my program that before I even came down to this raggedy ass 3D matrix. See, once you decree, declare, and proclaim that you're a divine sovereign being, you connect with anything and everything in this earthly matrix that relates to I'm going back to what I was before I even became in this meat suit and this avatar, this funky little flesh suit, meat suit, or whatever you want to call it. This is just a passing through, and we're leasing these things. So while I'm here, I'm gonna connect with anybody and everybody that's always moving on up, transcending to their divine sovereign being. And that's what it is for me at the end of the day. I don't claim no titles. I don't claim no actual, you know, uh, religious indoctrinations or theological abstractions, nor do I claim any organizations. And I've been I've been a part of many and plenty of organizations. But at the end of the day, I'm responsible for my land, my universe, which is me, my internal technology, and where I come from, where I know I'm going back to once I leave from leasing this avatar. And that's where I stand when it comes to even connecting with brothers and sisters that are trying to ascend, trying to transcend, trying to move up to the level of internal technology where they know they are a divine sovereign being. In first place, you got to be sovereign is within yourself, within your internal technology. So that's just my piece of the puzzle as we continue to figure out what all of these flying monkeys and gatekeepers and sellouts and whatever else you want to call them are trying to figure it all out on an earthly 3D matrix simulation level. The game is going to continue until the game is over for a lot of people. And with that being said, a lot of people's game is getting ready to be over because going back to her story, the mother universe is not playing games. She's handing out ego deaths because a lot of people are driven by pride, ego, arrogance, vanity, and even envy. So that's the peeve, Peave, pride, envy, arrogance, vanity, and pride, ego, arrogance, vanity, and envy. And the mother don't play that because wisdom says you're gonna have knowledge while you're here. You're gonna gain knowledge all day long. And I applaud everyone and anyone that gets to know themselves and gain knowledge of self. But at the end of the day, knowledge, wisdom is knowledge and the capacity to make use of it. Right now, they ain't making use of it. It's just a bunch of gibberish, a bunch of nonsense, a bunch of infighting, conflict, and war amongst our own people because knowledge has become puffed up in a lot of these people's minds. They think they have gained a whole lot of knowledge and they can start spouting it out to the masses, but they don't have no wisdom to conduct a war. They don't have counsel and might to balance each other out. They don't have wisdom and understanding to balance it out. They don't have knowledge and the fear of the Most High to balance it out. And that's why we see these divisions. And they're going to continue until all parasitical entities, whether you have your agenda is set for whatever you want to do while you're down here, chasing that dangling carrot on a stick in this rat race, or not. Let the games continue. I yield.
all right, all right. And thank you for that addition, brother Pollinator. And shout out to our listening audience over on YouTube, on our YouTube live. So shout out to Sister Kim, as well as Baba Moses. All right, give thanks, give thanks. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for your continued support, and thank you for your additions in the comments. All right. With that being said, let's go ahead and get ready to hit our next topic and subject matter. All right, family. Okay, so let me Let me come to our next. All right, and of course that was just a briefing on Black facts and universal Black history. All right, so with that being said, I had the wrong one. Let me come to our next. All right here. And we did go over, briefly having some information delivered to us by Sister Empress and the upcoming programs, initiatives, and so forth that are happening with the Million Women March Universal Movement, celebrating once again this month of Women's History Month, highlighting the phenomenal contributions of Black women. All right. And we have one of the living legends right here of Philadelphia, of Philly, uh, Dr. Felicio Nesu, also known affectionately as Empress Chi. All right, and she is back on the line. So let me give her the mic one more time before we close out on that subject matter. If your audio is together.
Okay, I'm not sure where I dropped off at, but one of the things I wanted to stress again, family, is as we grow and develop in this issue of repair, which has to include healing, we have a plan of action that we're going to be releasing as a part of our Reparatory for Justice initiative that's connected to the We Charge Genocide 21 movement, which is a part of MWM. So you see, we're multifaceted. This year marks the 75th year that Paul Robeson and William Patterson took a petition to the United Nations in 1951. So we're going to commemorate that this year with our own campaign to relaunch our million signature campaign that we want to take not only to the United Nations, but to have those signatures delivered to the various countries that we want to build allyship with, and then have them to issue their opinion based on the information that we submit. So that's some of what's coming. But again, one of the concerns and issues that I have to make sure we examine is watching people who jump in, say that they're doing things in our best interest, and look to see what have they done in terms of reparations up until very recent years when it became big, or as it's growing and people are latching on to it. What if they were talking about justice and all this stuff for our people prior to now? Why were they not more vocal or active when it came to helping to build the reparations movement, etc.? And I'm just suggesting we have to be very careful. There's a history of our people doing incredible work, only to have people to come in and act like, they're so much a part of it and have done nowhere near the work, but yet want to reap all the benefits. So I'm just suggesting be careful of that.
Indeed. All right, thank you for that addition, Sister Empress. All right, family, with that being said, let me come over and let's get into our next subject matter. We're going to get into our next topics, which is going to be holistic optimum health and wellness. All right, family. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay. Give me a hot tick. I'm going to share this. We're going to get into some subject matters. All right. Give me 1 second. Let me share my screen here.
Brother Miller, while you're doing your screening, I don't know if I got bumped off, but I mentioned that the African Union has declared from 2026 to 2036 the decade of reparations. So again, it behooves us to connect with nations.
Indeed. All right. Okay. All right. Let me go ahead and share my screen here, family. Make sure everyone can see. Okay, here we go. All right, we're going to talk about some aspects of optimal health and wellness. Okay, hopefully everyone can see the screen here. Let me see if I can blow it up a little bit. All right.
Guess who's getting sued for selling poison to you?
Coca-Cola, Kraft, PepsiCo, General Mills, and Nestle. Their products include Oreos, Cola, Doritos, mac and cheese, Cheerios, and Sour Patch Kids. The city's lawsuit argues that these companies knew they were selling food that made people sick, but sold it anyway.
Family, I try to tell you all, these companies, these brands do not care about you. They don't care about you, your health, your wellness, none of that. And this is how people become victims to the standard American diet and end up being the sheep being led by the shepherds of destruction. You wonder why you're sick. You wonder why you have diabetes. You wonder why you have brain fog. You wonder why you have chronic illness and chronic inflammation all over your body, because you have been feeding your body processed food and you have become a lab rat to these companies. All their legal ingredients on you. Can't say is that I care about you. This is the reason why I come out with wellness content. This is the reason why I tell you about fasting, detoxing, eating your fruits, going to your bed at a certain time, and to take the initiative to better yourself and to develop a more healthy lifestyle. Family, I'm tired of seeing people suffering. I'm tired of seeing people dying from things that can be prevented when they can live a healthy lifestyle and discipline themselves. I am just a messenger, but you have to make the choice to make a change. Follow me for more healthy health content like this. Comment the word FAST to get my 21-day raw cleansing, detoxing ebook. It's going to be great.
All right, let me stop my screen share there. You know what I mean? And shout out to Scott Bernhard, you know what I mean, doing his thing on the holistic tip. All right, let me stop my screen share there. Okay, family. And let me come to you all. If they're a journalist, what say you? What's your thoughts on some of these recent developments? And I know a lot of this is not news to you all, but just to reiterate that to the listening audience and to the public, to the masses at large, you know, with what most majority of these companies and corporations are dealing with as it pertains to food, air quotes. Okay, because a lot of this, and I'm hearing, let me see if I can pull it up in a little bit though, that there is some labeling that will be issued in the near future pertaining to, you know, being adverse to human consumption. All right, so there's warning labels that will be placed on quote unquote food in the near future. All right, based on the bioengineering, you know, additional hormones, you know, preservatives, artificial coloring, artificial flavoring, so on and so forth, that is added to these foods, family, quote unquote. All right, that is added to these, you know, products. I'm just gonna call them products, right? These supposedly consumable products, right? So let me open up the floor with that to the ethereal journalists. What say you? Let me come over to, okay, I got brother Pollinator back to the stage. All right, let me open it up though. Let me go and come to Sister Empress first. What's your thoughts on this recent developments? And I come to Brother Pollinator, and then I come to Sister Shayla if she has anything to add.
Well, you know, Brother Lumumba family, this is a topic that we have been talking about for decades, and not just talking about, but advocating, teaching, providing classes and things of that nature. Again, one of the reasons why I focus on our women is because it is the women that tend to have the children with them the majority of the time. So as Black women, we know we love our children, at least most do, but we have to now look at what else does that entail. Does it not also entail what we're putting in their bodies? I mean, not to even mention our bodies, okay, but think about our children. There is a process of elimination that is in effect. This system and other related systems, they have a mandate to reduce population. And you know, I don't want to get too deep into that, but you know, at some point we can have that conversation and can bring the receipts. And some of that is going to be done through some of the illnesses and other kinds of inoculations. But you can best believe obesity leads to high blood pressure, heart, kidney, all kinds of other diseases. And again, if our women are more educated about health, and that's one of the things that we're doing with MWM now, making certain that information is more accessible and more palatable, because we know very clearly it's difficult to get someone to do something that is totally foreign to them or that they're not acclimated to or whatever. We have built-in kind of chips. I call them, you mentioned the Willie Lynch letter earlier. I call some things Willie Lynch chips and other things, whereby there's a blockers that block truth, blockers that block things that can help us. They're instilled in our psyche. And so sometimes, or too often, when people hear certain kinds of information, they tune it right out because they're programmed to do that. So since we now know that, we are smart enough to develop mechanisms that can break through some of those things. So again, our women are very key in some of what is going to now happen to advance our people. This is not feminism. This is not my opinion. I can bring you the receipts. With that said, I'm impressing upon our women, join some of our classes, join our movement, so you'll know what foods are more nutritious for you, for our families, what foods are going to be better for our children and their growth and development. Even in terms of our women carrying children, we now have a sister who is a licensed OBGYN. She's a medical physician, and she is off the hook. She's incredible. So we have put these pieces together to help our women in particular so they can help our families and our communities.
I say, thank you for that addition. And also, let me give another shout out to Sister Kim, certified doula. All right. And so, we have folks, of different, elks, of different areas expertise. So shout out Sister Kim, right here in Philly, and who is a certified doula. All right. All right. All right. Let me come over to Brother Pollinator. What's your thoughts on this, good brother?
I want to yield to Queen Sister Silva, because I know it's Women's History Month, and I'm trying to be a gentleman this whole month. So I'm going to yield to her if she has any comments, but if she doesn't, I'll pick back up after her.
Okay.
One quick thing. Don't be a gentleman. Just be a black man.
I got to be gentle with women, man, because I love women. Hey, chivalry is not dead with me.
I know, I get that, but you know where that gentleman came from. But that's okay. I sidetracked. Go ahead.
All right.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. Yes. So, thank you for sharing that, and you bring my perspective. Because again, I'm not from the U.S. and I was there last week. I spent 1 week, and for me, it's deeply sad to see the situation of our people there regards to obesity. Yes, women in general. This is what the sister said, and the culture of buying this processed food. Yes, because and being real, when I am there, I don't eat because I am always afraid. And when I go to the supermarket, I have a kind of app, and I scan all products because this app that I use, it shows if the quality is good, medium, or bad. Every product that I touch in the United States, I use this app that I use in Europe. I don't need a lot, but there, yes. And the most of the products that you have in the supermarket are terrible. Even the size of the portion, and it's something, and I'm not talking about beauty, I'm not talking about this kind of stuff. But what I would like to understand, which kind of self-perception these brothers and sisters they have when they look in front of the mirror. They cannot walk and the young people, I'm talking about children, I'm talking about men, and mostly the women, because hormones, because of course when they give birth, our bodies have another structure. And thank you that you offer this kind of program, because we must, what you use a term, back to the drawing board. I think this is the term that you use in the United States, really, to buy fresh fruits, cook. Yes, we must teach these young ladies. I'm a part also of a women's circle, and one of the programs that we offer for young girls, so when they are 12, 13, is really to learn how to sewing, how to cook, how to choose vegetables and everything, because we as women, as Black women, we suffer under these fibroids. It connect to the food that we eat, the ones who put products in their hair, it will, the lack of vitamin D. And this is, again, thank you when you also shared, come back to reparations. We shouldn't really do the work. And today I talk with friends and also folks that I'm involved there in our organization, how to prepare our future generation, because they are our future and our continuity. And the way how we are going, it's not good. Yes, and we are responsible for teach that if they don't have their parents, because everything that's going on, drugs, imprisonment, poverty, and everything, we must create a kind of space and really to have a community to guide these young people, because we are dying because obesity, because drugs, because a lot of stuff. And specifically there, I don't see that in other diasporas. The the way how people eat, and Black people specifically, when I'm there, I'm with Black people, I go to Black neighborhoods, I in touch with Black people, and normally regular working class and poor people, and the way how they eat, the size of the portions, and even the transformation of the body, it's not normal. It's something that I've never seen nowhere in the world. And it's something that we really have to pay attention. It's not about beauty, it's not about beauty standards, it's about our survival. And even you are in the belly of the beast. The US is raging war everywhere. The people, they will not have the power to run if they need, because they cannot move, they cannot walk. And it's a sad situation. This is my contribution. We must do better. Yes.
All right, absolutely, absolutely, and I thank you for that addition, Sister Shayla. And I'm about to come over to Brother Pollinator, but let me say also, you're not trying, you're doing it, good brother. You know what I mean? As far as showing that chivalry and showing that gentleness to our women. You know what I mean? So hats off and salutes to you. And it's not just for this month. You do that 365. All right, good brother. So let me give you flowers on that. All
Yeah.
right, Brother Pollinator.
No, big true, big facts. I do that with all the queens, especially my queen, my mother, my physical mother, my biological mother, because she is the one that I was birthed from. And in order to be a king, you got to come from a queen's womb. So I look at her as just like I look at the queen mother of the universe. That's my matrix. That's my portal. That's my vortex. That's my black hole that I came out of. You know, on a universal level, I want to keep that at, not know, what other level people be doing, but that's where I came from. So I always honor my Black queens at all times, because without their love, without their support, without them raising us up to be the king when we were crowned, when we first came out that womb, where would we be at today? We would be nowhere. But on the topic of this whole food poisoning and whatever like that, I think the two queens pretty much blasted off into to the atmosphere how I would love to have done it. So I'm not even going to go off the platform. I'm not going to even launch off my pad. I'm going to yield, because what they said it all pretty much, and I appreciate their interjections and viewpoints on that whole piece. So let's keep the EtheReal blasting off to another round.
Copy that. Copy that. All right. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you for that addition, Brother Pollinator. All right. So with that being said, let me come to our next clip. Our next clip, family. Give me one tick. Let me give me a hot tick, and let me go ahead and share my screen. Let me pull it out real quick.
And while Brother Moon was doing that, El, you know I was messing with you, right?
Oh no, come on,
Oh,
I know. No,
okay.
you know how we jokes on this thing. Nothing personal,
No,
never, never.
much love and respect always. And like Brother Lumumba said, at least for me, over these, particularly in these past couple of years, and I've been appealing to Black men to support us for for 3 decades, really, and I can count them on my hand. So, Brother Knowledge, Shifu, of course, Brother Lumumba. Again, I truly, truly appreciate real Black men, and I have to say it in that way because there has to be examples of Black men, and you brothers definitely bring it. So good thing.
I'm honored. Thank you, Queen, Sister Empress Chi. Give her a drop. There we go.
I say, I'm on. I felt the vibe.
Yeah, man. I was about to say, give her that. You already hit the drop, so that's what's up. That's what's up.
No
Yes,
doubt.
indeed. Yes,
No.
indeed.
All right, family. With that being said, let me come on to our next clip. All right. Let me see I just pulled it up, family. Okay, there it is, right there. All right, yep. Let me go ahead and share my screen, and let's get into it. I'm gonna go back to back. Well, no. I'm going to let it rock. Let me give me one hot tick. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Here we go, and make sure that everybody can hear and see me.
Can make concern. Bitch, I'm scared of AIDS. Yeah, me. Bitch, I am scared of AIDS. You might not care, but bitch, I do. I'm not just fucking behind anything. I ain't. I don't give a fuck how fine you motherfucking is, how good you motherfucking look. Bitch, I'm scared of AIDS. Every 60 motherfucking days, you got a new... bitch, no. He got 4, 5 motherfucking kids from 4, 5 different motherfucking women. Bitch, I ain't trying to fuck behind him. Nasty ass nigga. Bitch, I care about me. You might not care, but bitch, I do. Whom it motherfucking may concern.
All right. Let me stop my screen share there. Apologies for the language there. We give a raw and uncut here on the EtheReal Journey podcast. Should have gave a little parental advisory on that. My apologies. So
Yep,
but
sure.
anyway, yeah. As we continue, a little dark humor. But on a serious note as well, family. On a serious note, as we talk about these transmittable diseases, and of course we have our in-house expert, Brother Pollinator. All right, so let me stop my screen share there. All right, and let's get some perspective going. All right, let me come to let me come to the sisters first, and then I'm gonna end off with Brother Pollinator. Sister Empress, let me come to you first. Any additions with that?
Well, just for the record, that was definitely not one of my favorite clips, y'all. I have to say that. I have to put that on record. But the message, the information is definitely significant of importance for right now, particularly given the fact that HIV, syphilis, and other things is on the rise in our communities. The thing I did like about the clip is, that's the kind of way, people address one another, talk to one another. And so when it comes to information, that is what is really the most important. Is the information valid? And in this particular situation, it is. Again, we can bring you the receipts on the increase of syphilis right here in Philadelphia. Elle and I have looked at other stats for New York and DC and Baltimore regarding syphilis and now HIV. And so people got to remember, HIV hit pretty hard a few years back. So it ain't like you can't have a resurgence again. And so, again, we need to reach our people in whatever way we can with this message. And so, some of it might be raw, some of it might be more, gentle or whatever. But the point is, we got to start, particularly with young folks. We got to make sure that they know some of the dangers with casual sex, unprotected sex, and things of that nature. I yield.
All right, all right. Yes, indeed. Give thanks for that addition, Sister Empress. Coming over to Sister Shayla.
Um, Again, I also, it's something that affects us collectively everywhere where we are, unfortunately. And unfortunately, people engage in certain kind of behavior to cope the suffering, right? So it's also a kind of addiction that brings people to act in certain way, in a dysfunctional way. Again, it was said it's important to guide the young people, and I see a lot of problems why it happens. First, we are in certain cultures, or we were assimilated into different religions that see this interaction between men and women. I'm talking about men and women, not other kind of relationships, right? As something that we shouldn't talk about, or very superficial, and we should come back to an understanding as a people that we must create structures, rites of passage, or even spaces to have conversation, to talk about this kind of interaction as something normal that will happen, and not just putting away all the consequences, is this and bad or something like that. No, talking to people, that is a human thing that will bring pressure, but with all attitudes that we have, there are consequences. And what are the consequences about that? Talk freely, but we have religions that prohibits that. Parents who are not prepared and don't prepare, there is pregnancy, teenage pregnancy, or most of people, they start having interaction when they are 13, 14 years old, because they are not guided. We see that as a sin, as a problem, because the way how we were socialized. But it's upon us to see these interactions as normal and guide young people, prepare them for this kind of life, talking a normal, because if they are not talking with their parents, they are doing stuff through and today we have social media and a lot of nasty stuff, and this is how they will learn, or through this, I don't know, porno, if I can say that, movies, or and this is not the way. And we as parents, parents, or not just parents, but community members who have an understanding, we should be prepared to guide these people, not just through books, having conversation in a normal way. That is something that will happen. The body will ask for certain things. It's a normal interaction, but how to prepare for that. And also about self-respect, because collectively as a people, we don't have self-love, we don't have self-respect, and will bring us to engage with each other in a very nasty way. And the results will be that, and we know the end, how it will be. Children who will be born sick, they will go to foster care, they will be in the streets, people who will die early. So again, it's our responsibility to create systems to prepare and guide young people, and see that in this interaction as a normal thing, not through the lenses of religion. That is very problematic. Otherwise, we will not win this fight.
Indeed, indeed. Thank you for that addition, Sister Shayla. All right. I'm about to come to Brother Pollinator. Let me just let me give a disclaimer real quick myself. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a promoter of Plies or his platform. I think it gets into aspects of buffoonery. But a lot of times you got to hit folks where they're at, and he definitely was making an excellent point as it pertains to just communicable diseases, and the fact that a lot of folks is not showing a lot of fear and or concern or constraint as it pertains to how they're dealing with each other sexually, and dealing with these aspects of communicable diseases and protection. All right. So definitely, I'm an advocate of abstinence, right? Until you find that right partner, that you can build with, having, get your butt checked, as Brother Pollinator would say, dealing with aspects of syphilis, tsunami, you know what I mean? And also having that paperwork party. You know what I'm saying? So that needs to be part of the conversation, having a more elongated interview process, right? Not just jumping in to bed with every Tom, Dick, Harry, or Henrietta, uh, 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 and Shauna and Shanisha. You know what I'm saying? So, being more, having more discernment, family, and understanding that these aspects are not only dealing with the physical, they're also dealing with the mental and the spiritual, right? Knowing that you're having soul ties and spiritual connections with all the individuals who you're having intercourse with. So it is an aspect of divinity as well, and should be taken within that framework, within that mindset. All right, family. Let me come over to Brother Pollinator, our expert in the field.
Yes, indeed. I appreciate everybody's interjections and viewpoints, because this is a public health crisis, which is what I've been sort of like trying to be the voice for the voiceless for many years now. And of course, I became the voice to the voices so much to the point where they came after me and pretty much took my career, my public health career from me. But they're getting their karma. Karma's coming around the block. All of them have went down, because that's what I'm about at the end of the day. You go to war, okay, you prefer that method, okay, I'll take that method as well. But you can't limit the battlefield to somebody's reputation, which is what they did. And that's a two-way street. You come after my reputation, you come after my name, my good reputation. Don't think I can't take that same weapon of war and come after you, because I'm trying to inform our people, all people, if you really look at it, because it affects and it impacts everybody, that there is a public health crisis that should not have been allowed. Anytime babies are being born with syphilis and HIV, because a lot of them are coming in dually infected, meaning HIV or syphilis is the gateway. It's a bacteria that opens up the gateway or the doorway for a virus such as HIV or any other H-word virus, HPV, hepatitis, or any other uncurable infection to come into your avatar and create a war situation within your meat suit. It wants to eat. That's what its job. It's a monster. HIV is a monster, and it loves to eat. It eats bodies, just like syphilis did when it first came out. And you could go back to Europe when they had a bad syphilis outbreak. I think it was during the 1500s or the 1600s. Don't quote me on that. But, even Europeans know that this infection can ravage a society. It could create an outbreak situation and darn near a pandemic within their own community. So the Europeans have went through a major syphilis outbreak in their history. You can look it up. You can look it right on up. But now we're going through that, but we've been interfered with. And Plies comes hard. He comes, straight to the gut with no chaser. You know what I mean? And this is how sometimes you got to shock people's conscience, because a lot of people, that's the language that they use. And I'm one of those people that I'm going to relate to anybody and everybody at the level of understanding of where they are at. I know how to go into a doctor's office and speak doctor lingo or whatever technical language I need to speak, but I can go to the street and get gutter butt just as much, because this is where we're at, because this disease is ravaging our communities. HIV is on the rise. It's back in effect, and it may be just as bad as COVID, because it's not just here in America. This thing is worldwide, as well as syphilis tsunami. So we got dual infections popping off in our communities. And MEX, I'm going to just say MEX for the SEX word. And MEX is a big thing that we all do as, part of our natural human nature. We create our generations, we create our grandchildren, we create, everything about our family structure is based on having that one intimate activity with someone that we love and that we want to create with. But now it's becoming a detriment, because a lot of women, as well as men, are engaging in these activities irresponsibly, and they're doing it unbeknownst to the other partner and bringing third parties into the mix that's creating these infections, whether it's syphilis, HIV, gonorrhea, chlamydia, HPV, hepatitis, any and all of those things, as well as those who still, into IV drug use and, are in the gallery shooting up like they was in the 70s with the heroin epidemic. All of these things are transmissions of infection. And we have to come to the reality that, yes, Smex is good, and we like to enjoy it and everything, and it sells on TV, with all of the propaganda they put out. But you're not talking about the balance scales when you don't tell them, but here's what can happen if you decide you want to step out there and you don't protect yourself and you don't, like you said, Captain Uncaged, get that paperwork. Get that paperwork. So let's look at the good, the bad, and definitely the ugly, because some of these signs and symptoms that are coming up on people, they're mixing their biochemical makeup, and they may come out with a strain that even some of the stuff that they got right now to treat it won't be able to help them. There's some gonorrhea infections that, the regular normal regimen and prescription will not cure. And this is what we're doing when we're combining each other's biochemical makeup with, and these organisms and these viruses are coming together and they're creating new ones. I think me and Sister Chi had talked about this a few weeks ago, that there's another strain of syphilis that may be getting ready to come out because there's so many people mixing, and these things are transmuting, they're transforming, they're coming into a whole nother element of who they are as they try to continue to use our avatars to feed off of. So with that being said, this is serious, people, and people need to get serious about this. Protect yourself at all costs, because we got a war going on, not just externally, but internally within our own avatars and our meat suits. And a lot of time that war is being bought to your home by somebody that you love and that you care for. So with that being said, I'm going to land my plane.
All right. Thank you for that addition, Brother Pollinator. And that was 1445, if I'm not mistaken. 1495, excuse me. The syphilis epidemic swept across Europe some 150 years after the Black Death had unalived millions on the same continent. All right, family. So a little bit of history as it pertains to some of these communicable diseases.
What was it, 1490? You said 95?
Yes, sir.
And supposedly Christopher Columbus came here in what, 1492? Did he bring some of that to the native indigenous people of this land? Probably too, maybe.
Well, I mean, surely to this land, but they were saying that was in existence in Europe because they did some archaeological digging, and they it actually predated Columbus. So there was actually cases of syphilis that was prominent before his arrival. But they were saying that may have added to one of the new strands that you were talking about that was more pervasive, right? And so that's one example of being able to build on some of these communicable diseases and how they evolve to other strands and other levels. All right.
Yeah, you got to respect the game they play, because all they here to do is eat. Just like we here to eat and enjoy this matrix, they here to do the same thing. But they use our avatars and our meat suits to get off whatever they getting off to feed themselves. So just be we all have to be very cautious right now. And pretty much like you said, abstinence, that's a good protective measure, protective barrier. Even celibacy, until you get with a person that you truly are trying to have a one monogamous relationship with, and protect yourself. And you'll know if something comes into your relationship, you'll be able to pin the tail on the donkey and know where it came from. Right now, nobody knows where to pin the tail on the donkey is, or the contact tracing piece, because they have multiple partners and are having unprotected, irresponsible relationships with these people. And with that being said, let's just keep this monster rolling.
That's indeed. About to have a poetic clip sharing. You want to share in just a hot tick. But let me say, we were talking about HIV, AIDS. Now we transition into syphilis because a lot of these things are being combined. All right, and folks are being coming up with multiple aspects of diseases. So gonorrhea, along with syphilis, along with HIV. So a cocktail of diseases that are being transmuted currently. All right, family. So again, just be mindful. I'm about to have a poetic selection by none other but our brother El Pollinator, who has been doing this work for a long time now, family. All right. And this is from 17 years ago. All right. So he's not new to this, he's true to this. So right now, want to introduce or reintroduce brother El Pollinator with the monster.
King Kong ain't got nothing on me. I'm the monster. Y'all call HIV. King Kong ain't got nothing on me. I'm the monster. Y'all call
Oh, sorry.
King.
You're back.
King Kong ain't got nothing on me. I'm the monster. Y'all call HIV. King Kong ain't got nothing on me. I'm the monster. Y'all call HIV.
The volume is low, Brother Lumumba.
King Kong ain't nothing but a big gorilla. Godzilla ain't nothing but a made-up thriller. But I'm for realer, the #1 killer, invisible to the world, no motion picture, invasion of the body snatchers. You know I catch ya, don't sleep on me, I'm like AVP, an alien, a predator, no one better. I hunt you down, squash your life in the ground, I am legend. That's why you sweating. I said I am legend. That's why you sweating. A biblical plague from Revelation's page, infecting gay and straight, the young and the old. I got millions of stories that'll never be told. Millions and millions of stories that'll never be told. Man, I'm like McDonald's. But King Kong ain't got nothing on me. I'm the monster. Y'all call HIV. King Kong ain't got nothing on me. I'm the monster. Y'all call HIV. King Kong ain't got nothing on me. I'm the monster. Y'all call HIV. Unprotected sex? Unprotected sex? Unprotected sex is my crazy mother. Blood donations used to be my brother. Sharing dirty needles, my little cousins. Lies and deception, my best friends. These weapons of mass destruction, my WMDs, are modern day terminators. I love my armies. I got soldiers on the down low. My double agents infecting their partners who got no common sense. But wait a minute. If sense was common, then we all would have it, right? Never mind. I'm tripping. But my blueprint for success, your positive test. My #1 goal, to increase this mess. Governments alone can't help you survive. Pharmaceutical companies got their eyes on my prize. For y'all that got dough, I keep you alive. Before the poor, no meds mean you are about to die. I said, for the poor, no medicine means you are about to die. Immune system is gone. Now your body's in shock. Only God can save you. Why you looking for the doc? Cause King Kong ain't got nothing on me. I'm the monster. Y'all call HIV. King Kong ain't got nothing on me. I'm the monster. Y'all call HIV. King Kong ain't got nothing on me. I'm the monster. Y'all call HIV. I'll take over your cells and lock your cells in my jails. Your body's now mine, the CO from hell. Inmates exposed to disease. I said inmates exposed to disease or IEDs. I let them out of jails and penitentiaries. Then blow up your homes and communities. Funeral business be busy, full of misery. But one last parable that I like to say before the horsemen of the apocalypse come riding your way. I'll enter your city, all up in South Philly. Your private parts is where my mission starts. Then I head up to your vitals and tear them apart. Team up with death in Center City and take your heart. So beware to wear protection or try not to sin, or I'll introduce you to AIDS, my friend, and your story will end. Period. Cause King Kong ain't got nothing on me. I'm the monster y'all call HIV. King Kong ain't got nothing on me. I'm the monster y'all call HIV. King Kong ain't got nothing on me. I'm the monster y'all call HIV. And now you know me.
All right, all right. Yes, indeed, family. All right, and that poetic selection again was our very own brother L Pollinator. All right, all right. All right, so yeah, shout out once again. Thank you for that addition, brother Pollinator, and coming with that piece, Monster, HIV. All right, the oldie but a goodie. Had to go back in the crates real quick and get that throwback. All right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Any yeah, shout out to a family on Facebook. All right. Shout out Sister J Renee, who says peace to the family. Added in earlier on our health, optimal health piece with a weak body can't put up a strong fight. It matters. All right. Also showing appreciation of true black men. All right. And all our amazing black women. All right. So shout out to Sister J Renee, put up the fire emojis for that last presentation. All right, all right. Thank you for that addition, Sister J. Shout outs. All right. So with that being said, let me see. I'm gonna come back to you all for any questions or comments based on that presentation that we have just received before we move on to our next subject matter, family.
So I have thank you for the beautiful work, really. So you are very talented, and I love that. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Sister Queen.
All right,
Hey,
all
big
right.
shout out to Brother Wally. He's tuning in on YouTube.
All right, all right. Excellent, excellent. I give thanks. Thank you for that addition. All right, family. With that being said, let me see. Is there any additional comments? Okay. All right. Shout out, Sister Kim. Gotta log off. Let me just, matter of fact, let me put that on the screen. All right. All right. And she gives a big UFO on that. All right. Thank
Yeah. Kim Mathis, what's up? Queen Sister Kim. Kim, thank you for tuning in and supporting the EtheReal Journey podcast. We love you.
All right. All right. All right. I say give thanks. All right. Okay. All right. Let me come to our next. Come to our next. Let's keep it rolling, family. Thank you for joining us in the EtheReal Journey podcast. Once again, episode 38. Thank you for joining us on Facebook Live as well as on our YouTube Live platforms. All right, let me come to our next clip. Let me go ahead and share this real quick. Okay, let me go ahead and share my screen, family. Let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, so want to tap on this real quick. Story that is recent. So let's share this story here, family, and see what we have. All right, here. Let me see if I can blow that up a little bit. Okay, we see this is coming from Deshaun Farad. Thanks for the share. And this is from the 26th of February. A senior track athlete at Lincoln University is now facing second degree murder charges after a deadly off campus dispute left fellow sprinter Kayvon Goldson unalived. All right, authorities say Danita Jackson called 911 and admitted to stabbing her boyfriend during an alleged confrontation at her Jefferson City apartment. Prosecutors claim that altercations began after Jackson found Goldson in a bedroom with her roommate, escalating into a physical fight that ended with the fatal stab wounds. Jackson is being held without bond as the campus community reels from this tragic loss. All right, so RIP to brother Goldson, all right, in this tragic and traumatic incident. Okay, let me stop my screen share there, family. All right. So now this, gets into aspects of optimal health and wellness when we talk about our spiritual and mental health. Also, touching base once again on, our interactions, as it pertains to, intercourse. All right. And, how we are developing our relationships. This also, touches on a bluff aspect as well, which is, as you may or may not know, an acronym that I, have developed, to dig further into the aspects of the building of our relationships and the intentional targeting, dismantling of our families and, disconnect from one another and the building of love and appreciation for one another. All right. So BLUF stands for, it's an acronym, stands for Black Love Under Fire. All right. Looking at that from a historical perspective, bringing it up all the way into current day. All right. As our family was torn asunder through the process of colonialization and imperialism. All right. And continuing to be targeted to this day, as we know, Black love is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. All right. With that being said, let me come over to the ethereal journalist. Get your take on this matter. All right. Questions or comments. Let me come to Sister Empress first.
Well, again, that was a very sad story, a very sad situation. But over the past decade, unfortunately, I've gotten more reports than I care to have gotten. Not necessarily to that degree in terms of someone being unalive, but the issue of this being Women's History Month, I'm going to focus specifically on that. The issue of Black women, Black females, and mental health is really it is like skyrocketing all over the place. The various incidences and other kinds of things, reports that I'm getting is just, it's very, very concerning. And once again, we're not really hearing a lot about this. And now, needless to say, mental illness, for lack of a better terminology, is affecting all of our people. But again, I want you all to connect what happens from a systemic standpoint. If a female, if a Black woman is deemed to have mental disorders, that means the system has the capability to take the children. So to be able, just like they're labeling children with ADHD and all kinds of stuff, our women are now getting labeled with different types of mental malfunctions or disabilities. What that does is enables the system again to be able to remove the child from the care of the mother based on some, instability or what have you. And more our women are in fact experiencing depression and other kinds of maladies because number one, this economy is creating some serious problems. Not having food, not having money to pay rent and bills and things. It's really creating some very serious and obvious kinds of issues and problems. And so all somebody has to do is report it. Even if they just think, well, something, it may not be that, but just the report in itself can create a situation. This is some of the stuff that's going on in our communities nationwide. This is why Black women, I'm telling you, we better be well organized in these next few years, because the system is geared to make certain that it gets our children one way or the other. And we're not prepared. Most women are not prepared, and they're banking on that we have no, way to fight back. And I've already experienced this with sisters on numerous occasions already in battling these courts. So we have to train our own women as advocates and be able to literally engage with this in the system on their behalf. But we have to go through a process that will enable us to be legitimate, at least to a degree where we can effectively lobby or challenge the system when they come at us. So again, that situation with that young sister is more than unfortunate. It's happening more than we know. It's going to happen more, unfortunately, because epigenetics, which is trauma based on generations. So we're talking again about enslavement, repair, and things of that nature. But again, the compilation and the combination of years of trauma, years of violations, human rights violations, and then what's going on in the present day with systemic, the system of off-white supremacy, all of those combinational things is impacting our women now. And it is going to have a serious impact on our families and communities.
Indeed. Thank you for that addition and wealth of information, Sister Empress. All right, let me open the floor one more time. Questions or comments. Let me come to Sister Shayla. I'm not sure if you have any additions on this one.
No, not on this topic. No.
All right. Thank you. Brother Pollinator, questions or comments on this?
I don't have any comments or questions, but like Sister Chi, Sister Empress Chi, she spelled it out. I mean, these are things that are happening on a more frequent basis because our frequencies are off within our relationships. And anytime it leads to one of the partners unaliving the other one, that's serious. But, we so caught up in the bread and circus of entertainment and sports that we don't see these smoldering, festering problems coming up from the surface like lava boiling up underneath a volcano before it erupts. But guess what? We got to start paying attention to these type of things, because anytime we start to unalive our so-called significant other and partner, there's a serious spiritual disconnect first and foremost. And of course, it's got to be an emotional tide, physically tied to that, as well as mentally tied to that. So with that being said, that's what it reminded me of, that these incidents of each other, whether it's kidnapping someone and then you're finding out that it was the boyfriend that left the body behind a strip mall somewhere, these are problems that I think we're so caught up in all the negative things that are hitting us 360 degrees circle wise, where we can't even look at things that we used to back in the early days, you know, maybe our grandparents would look at that as something horrific, and that we as a community need to come together so that we can pay attention to these things and not allow them to happen, and to put them out to the point where it becomes something that we don't expect anybody else to do, because you're gonna have to regulate y'all in our community. And that used to be policing ourselves, which we've totally lost that ability to do now because of situations like this. So yeah, that's all I wanted to add to the conversation. I yield.
And can I just add one quick little sidebar? And it is, and I have to ask our women in this particular situation again, what are we doing? And what I mean by that is, of course, you know, sisters are always doing wonderful things, wonderful work. But on the real, are we really, as Black women, particularly collectively, really helping our women and girls to grow and develop holistically, adequately, intelligently? And I can answer that as well. And I'm sure most of you can as well. Because if you go to any major city where our people are, I guarantee you, you are not going to see anything in those cities that are consistent. And here's the real operative word, that is, shall we say, Black, or shall we say, lead to self-determination, independence, thing of that nature. Most of the programs that you're going to find are 501c3 programs, and they're really indoctrinating, you know, the client or the entity to keep the system moving. So it'll use, well, you know, we're giving you self-esteem, or we're helping you to grow but really what it's doing is it's really indoctrinating them. It's definitely not helping them to be self-sufficient, independent thinkers, know thyself, those types of things all over the country. So Black women, we've got to ask ourselves, what are we doing when it comes to our community? When it comes to these young girls, a lot of these young girls don't have anyone at home to help them. When I'm out and I hear a lot of times females cussing at the children, just in general conversation, you know, I'm like, wow. So I'm saying again, we talk about the village, we talk about each one teach one, and I'm saying to Black women, if we do not do better, and again, I'm not saying that our sisters are not doing great things. Please don't make it, you know, seem like I'm saying that I am not. But what I am saying is, based on the severity of today, based on what our women and girls need today, are we being responsible? And here's the answer, no. Because no matter how busy someone is, no matter what someone does or does not know, each sister can give 1 hour of her time per month. And that's what we're getting ready to ask sisters to do. If nothing else, commit to 1 hour of something that is really going to be, you know, beneficial. And I'm not talking about that old puff stuff. That old, you know, these programs that they got out here now are hilarious to me. And y'all know it. It's the same old stuff. So I'm saying to our women, and MWM is going to be putting that call out to our sisters, volunteer 1 hour of your time that's really about the type of historical, traditional ways that our women and girls used to engage, raise up, nurture, and interact.
All right, absolutely. And thanks for that addition, Sister Empress. All right, family. With that being said, if there's no other additions, let me come to our next subject matter. All right. So you're gonna tap really quickly on Universe, Omniverse. All right, let's take a look at some recent findings. Okay. All right, let me go ahead and share my screen. Give me a hot tick. Share my screen real quick. There we go. All right. All right. So this is a story. Let me see if I can. Let me go to the Newsweek article real quick, if I can. All right. Here we are. Here we are, family. All right. So the title here: NASA's Webb spots nebula that looks strangely like a cosmic brain. All right. This is from the 26th of February. Um, NASA released new images from the James Webb Space Telescope of a little studied nebula PMR1, whose split hemispheres and dark central lane resemble a transparent skull encasing a brain. All right, the Webb images capture a relatively short-lived stage in a dying star's evolution, offering clues to how stars shed their outer layers. NASA said Webb observed PMR1, nicknamed the Exposed Cranium Nebula, in both near infrared and NIRCam and mid infrared with MIRI, revealing a brain like interior divided by a dark vertical lane. The nebula shows an outer skull like shell composed largely of hydrogen ejected first and a more structured inner cloud made of mixed gases. All right, and here is the view perspective from the James Webb Telescope. All right, let me see if I can enlarge that a little bit. All right, so just giving you some additional insight, information onto what's happening galactically, family. And interestingly enough, some of the concepts of as above, so below, and how the things that are happening interstellarly are related to us and our experiences here on Earth, and even in some cases in mimicry of, or perhaps we are in mimicry of those things that are happening throughout the universe. All right, family. So just to put another perspective on things that are occurring and how they are interrelated to our experiences as quote unquote human beings and on this planet. All right. Let me stop my screen share there. Let me come to the EtheReal journalist for any additions onto these recent findings. All right. With that being said, Sister Empress, do you have anything on that?
Just that I love how we, covered several different kinds of areas on ethereal. And I think it's very important that, we deal with what's going on in our communities, what's going on in our families, etc. But it's also very important that we look at the bigger picture, or the other things that's going on in the world, in the universe. This is very, very important, because as we proceed to grow and develop as a people, certainly there are signs, for lack of a better terminology, there are things that are being shown to us. And for those who take the time, or for those who are in tune to know about some of these things, it's going to help us to grow and develop more expeditiously, as well as in the ways that we really need to, particularly given the fact that we're at war. Right. So the mere fact that we just saw a recent eclipse, lunar eclipse, just seeing the changes in nature and things of that nature, and I think it's very, very important that we pay attention to some of the scientific and technological. And I know that, with technology that can get real strange, but at the same time, we still need to know and understand it. So again, appreciate that particular article very, very much, Brother Lumumba, because we must make certain that we broaden our scope and that we allow our brains to be able to advance.
Indeed, indeed. Thank you for that addition, Sister Empress. Let me come over to Sister Shayla. Any additions to that?
Oh yes, just a comment. Thank you for sharing that. I'm not a person who is very connected to science on this level. Yes, I don't read a lot about that. It's also for me an opportunity to get in touch with this kind of content, and also to see how we have to move as we as Black people. We must be more involved with this kind of topic, and even okay, in the US maybe you have more opportunity because you develop a lot of stuff there, right? Or for the ones who are in Europe, in the so-called first world countries, that we should think, even maybe we are far from that because we're dealing with other stuff, but really paying attention, taking to approach more these areas, yes, to build, because they are building things everywhere, yes, and they are destroying this planet where we are in. Like the brother always says, I love when he says that our avatar, where we are, and this kind of language. What I truly agree with him. I like his vocabulary, and how we will move forward. Yes, because we are going to this artificial intelligence era, right, where we as workers will not be needed anymore. These people, they are building their own worlds, maybe outside. This is at least what some people say, like a conspiracy theory. And I don't see a lot of Black people engage in this kind of topic conversation or even learning on this scale, on this level. Yes, and it's something that we need because we are in another era and the world is transforming and we are staying behind. Thank you for sharing that.
Indeed, indeed. And thank you for that addition, Sister Shayla. Coming over to El Pollinator, what say you?
Yeah, real quick. It's interesting that that object in the cosmos looks like a brain. And the first thing comes to my mind is memory. You know, while we're here in this matrix, you know, a lot of our memory has been suppressed. And when I say memory, it's encoded within our DNA. Our stories is a universal story that's connected to the star systems. So when you connect the ancient black dark, because out of darkness came the light, you know, these are the things that help us to continue our interconnectedness with where we come from. The stars are us, the moon is us, the sun is us, the earth is us. We come from everything in the galaxies, in the ethereal realms. You know, our eyes come from the sun. You know, our flesh comes from the dirt of the earth. Our, you know, bones come from the stone and the rock of the earth. Our, you know, our blood comes from the dew or the water of the earth. You know, our hair and veins come from the grass. That's why when you eat grass or eat, you know, vegetarian food, it helps your veins to open up and to expand so that your blood flow can go righteously in the right direction. So we come from everything in the seen and the unseen realm, in the as above realm as well as in the so below realm. You know, our souls are like the clouds, very light and airy, but can be a very emotional thing because what comes out of clouds is water. And sometimes it can be violent like a storm and create a flood, or sometimes it could cry and mourn or the loss of a family member. So our souls are part of that cloud. You can't see it, but just like a cloud, you can see it for a period of time, then it disappears. You know, and of course our spirit comes from the realms in which, if you understand who you are in your bloodline and your lineage, are the angelic realms where you can't see things. It's like the wind. You can see the wind. You can't see the wind, but you can see its effects when it blows on the trees and it moves the leaves and it does all the things that it does. So I say all these things to say that that article shows you that we have a connection to the cosmos. And like Sister Silva was saying, we have to tap into that energy because that energy, that frequency, that vibration is where we come from. But we've lost our memory while we've been down here in this 3D matrix, chasing that dangling carrot on a stick on a hamster wheel, going real fast going around in circles real fast, but getting nowhere. But when you connect back to the cosmos, you start grounding, you start sun gazing, you start sunbathing, letting that energy come in and bring back to your memory, which is already coded within your body, within your frequency, within your body and your hair and everything. It receives frequencies from the universe. If you are the carbonated, melanated realms where we come from. So I say all these things to say that was a great article, man. And it's just ironic that it looks like a brain, because we have lost our minds and we need to gain it back and get our memory back to who we are as the ones that come from the primordials of the universe. With that being said, I land.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
One quick sidebar, Al, you hit on something and I had to respond to it. That again, you know, from what we are told and taught and pretty much can see as best as we can, everything comes from darkness, from blackness. And I just want to reiterate, that's why we utilize that terminology. Not because some man-made stuff or whatever they're talking about, but because based on physics. And so even though, again, we recognize the necessity to identify your tribe, your lineage, your genealogy, at some point we got to go to a higher level. And that's what ethereal is about. Raising those frequencies, raising those energies. So we're not saying don't do the other things. What we're saying is evolve. Let's go to some other levels. We're supposed to be able to do things, more than one thing at a time. I mean, it's 360 degrees that we talk about. Therefore, we should be able to do more than just, well, I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a this. Is that all you are? Well, cool. But don't try to hinder someone else's growth and development. And so this is why, again, just for a point of clarity, this is why we utilize that concept in terms of blackness, not based on what Europeans are talking about. We choose the right to define ourselves in the manner that we choose to. We have that right. And anyone that attempts to dismantle that, that means you're attempting to violate our rights. And we can tell you, as we proceed, that is not going to be the best thing to do.
All right.
Big truth and big facts. Big truth and big facts.
Yes, indeed. Much appreciated for that addition, Sister Empress. All right. So we're going to transition now, and we're looking at the topic, subject matter of current events, politics, as we call it here. All right, let's tap in really quickly, and let's get a little bit of perspective, and then we'll come back for some commentary. All right, let me play a little clip of this. Some of the recent headlines, and let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, let me share my screen here. Okay, here we go.
Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. As financial markets were tanking, President Trump told CBS News yesterday, the Iran war is, quote, very complete pretty much, just before the markets closed. But later in the day, Trump continued to send mixed messages about the war. In a speech to Republican lawmakers in Doral, Florida, Trump vowed to keep striking Iran's leadership.
But we had leaders and they're gone. Then we had new leaders and they're gone. And now nobody has any idea who the people are that are going to be the head of the country, and will not relent until the enemy is totally and decisively defeated.
And later, at a news conference, President Trump was asked about the U.S. strike at a naval base near a girls' school that killed 175 people, most of them children.
Mr. President, you just suggested that Iran somehow got its hands on a tomahawk and bombed its own elementary school on the first day of the war. But you're the only person in your government saying this. Even your defense secretary wouldn't say that when he was asked, standing over your shoulder on your plane on Saturday. Why are you the only person saying this?
Because I just don't know enough about it. I think it's something that I was told is under investigation, but tomahawks are used by others, as you know. Numerous other nations have Tomahawks. They buy them from us. But I will certainly, whatever the report shows, I'm willing to live with that report.
On Saturday, President Trump said he told Kurdish forces not to enter the Iran war. That's despite reports the CIA had been working to arm Kurdish forces to instigate an uprising within Iran. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has said Iran is prepared to continue missile attacks across the region for as long as necessary and ruled out talks with the U.S. to end the war. Meanwhile, residents of Tehran report toxic air, soot covering streets and cars and balconies filled with black gunk after Israeli strikes hit the city's oil depots Sunday. In interviews with The Guardian and NBC News, sources from inside Iran report they woke up with pain in their throats and burning eyes due to the environmental disaster. The World Health Organization's Director General, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, said, quote, damage to petroleum facilities in Iran risks contaminating food, water, and air, hazards that can have severe health impacts, especially on children, older people, and people with pre-existing medical conditions, unquote. Meanwhile, in Tehran, hundreds of thousands of Iranians rallied in support of the new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, who succeeded his father, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, assassinated by U.S.-Israeli strikes on February 28th. Iran says the war has killed more than 1,255 people and injured about 10,000. CCTV TV footage captured a U.S.-Israeli strike near a boys' school Sunday. According to Iranian state media, a boy, Mayar Zangane, was killed in the strike. On Monday, mourners gathered in Tehran for the funerals for the victims of Israeli and U.S. strikes.
If a ceasefire happens, the blood of our martyrs is wasted. And in my view, a ceasefire means disrespect to all these martyrs. And honestly, it must be continued until the end.
In Australia,
let me go ahead and stop the screen share there, family. Just some of the recent reports coming from Iran and the recent engagement, the wars that have been brewing. Let me play one more clip, and then I'm going to come back to our David journalist to weigh in on the recent developments and how that might affect us here in the States. All right, let me play this clip. It's digging back into the crates a little bit of a historical perspective. Now, this is, I believe, an interview from the past leader of Iran, coming from 1979. All right, let's jump into that really quick, family, and then we'll come back for commentary. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay.
That today, perhaps today, some black hostages and some female hostages will be released from the American embassy compound. Is that true?
The freedom of the woman and blacks will be given. Women are given great dignity in Islam, and the blacks have been oppressed in the United States. Great injustice was done unto them. They were under pressure in the United States. Thus they came here. We are doing this owing to the tenets of Islam. In return, we ask nothing for their freedom. We want the Shah. Carter must return him. The world's international law agree with this principle.
I ask you, as an American and a human being, talking to an Iranian and another human being, is there no room for compromise? Or is Iran now in effect at war with the United States?
حضرت امام آیا جناب عالی یا به طور کلی ایران در حال حاضر با امریکا در حال جنگ هستید؟
جنگ مقصود چی است؟ اگر مقصود این است که
What do you mean by war? If you mean our armies against the United States armies, no, there is no such war. If you mean it is a battle of nerves, it is Carter's doing. We are against war. We are Muslims. We desire peace for all. Carter does not allow this. Carter should put aside his so-called humanism and return the criminal Shah so that we can conclude this matter.
We hear, Imam, that today.
All right, let me stop my screen share there and come to the Ethereal Journalist, and let's get some takes on the recent developments in Iran. And, you know, the fact that this is not a new war, all right? This is a continuation, a perpetuation of, you know, attacks that have been going on and that have been orchestrated by the U.S. and some of the European allies as it pertains to, you know, waging attacks and wars against Iran and countries in the quote unquote Middle East. All right. So let me come to you, theory journalists, for your additions. Let me come to Sister Empress first.
So I think it's important that we understand how some of these war games are played, be it the actual armed war or the intelligence war, etc. So we know that America literally places people into different countries in order to dismantle those countries that they cannot have the kind of control that they want. So the history of Iran is that when we talk about the Shah and things of that nature. So, you know, the United States is known for putting in people, some call them puppets and other things, in order for the United States to have, you know, a greater capability to do what it needs to do, which is usually about getting access to the resources of those countries. So, you know, again, as you say, Brother Moon, this is not anything new. We talked the other evening about how in 1980, there was an embargo against Iran. And I think that's what that particular clip was also in reference to. But the thing I liked about that clip, it kind of demonstrated what some know and more need to know, and that is that there are countries that have shown, if not their, shall we say, solidarity, they have shown some concern and have taken some types of actions in support of Black folks here in the U.S. This is a fact. This is why, no matter what you want to say about Cuba, Cuba has made it very clear that in certain kind of situations, it would definitely support, you know, those that want to come near to get away from this government. You see, I mean, we've seen it on numerous occasions. China takes that same position or has taken that same position. So the point that I'm stressing to folk is to pay attention, maybe not so much to the propaganda, meaning what you hear on the regular news networks, as opposed to paying attention to what positions do some of these countries take or have taken when it comes to Black folks. Libya was another one. Libya was, you know, very, you know, concerned about what was going on here in the U.S. and took actions to support. And we'll talk about that at another time. But there are a few countries that literally not only, you know, I won't say sympathize, but they understood some of the plight and was stepping up to support. And this is why, again, we're saying with MWM and our affiliates, we have to be smart enough to know how to develop allies. We're not talking about kissing their butts or anything like that. But what we're talking about is seeing where there is some capability to deal with the humaneness of the situation, and with that, obtain some type of support, additional support. And this is what we're doing and have been doing. So again, that clip clearly stated that one of the reasons why they were releasing the hostage was because one was Black, and they understood the plight of some of the plight of Black folks, and said very clearly, we don't want anything else. In other words, they weren't trying to negotiate, well, listen, we'll give you this person if you give us something. That's not what he said. You see, these are the types of things that you need to really understand, that there are a few countries or a few entities that have attempted to operate like that. And the United States, of course, have made sure that they do the best that they can to neutralize that entity. So what's going on now, again, is a game of control in a different kind of way. We need to pay very much close attention. Lastly, we've talked in previous times about the ROTC, and it still is ringing in my brain because we are hearing that there is a possible draft coming up. I yield.
All right, thank you for that addition, Sister Empress. Coming over to Sister Shayla. Any additions on that front? Okay. Oh yes, Sister Shayla. All right. Perhaps not. Let me come over to Brother Pollinator.
I'm gonna hit it real quick from a historical perspective that happened centuries and centuries ago. This is nothing but a continuance of what had happened during Purim, during the time when Queen Esther, who was a queen under King Xerxes, who was the ruler of the Persian Empire, which we know is Iran and Iraq today, had to. They were getting ready to exterminate the original Hebrew Black, people that were the ones that were being under oppression at that time, and they wanted to exterminate them. So her relative Mordecai told her, "You never know why the Most High is calling you for such a time as this." And that was the story of Queen Esther, who was a Hebrew melanated carbonated queen, no different than Queen Mecklenburg of Charlotte, who they recently had a show on that's what the city of Charlotte, Mecklenburg County is named after. We've had queens, melanated queens throughout the history of our humanity, but the dot I'm trying to connect concerning what we're currently seeing, it's almost like a reverse thing now. Back then, they were going to exterminate the Hebrew people until she propositioned and petitioned to King Xerxes, hey, Haman is not trying to do right by our people. He just is out of jealousy and envy. He wants to exterminate us. So he ended up getting hung in the gallows himself. Now you see the same situation happening, and they happen to really almost release this whole war or start this whole war right around Purim. But it's not the Persians or the Iraqis or the Iranians trying to exterminate the Hebrew people. It's those people that I don't think they are Hebrew people, from the bloodlines and lineages that I know from historical facts and science. They are people that are trying to now reverse it and exterminate the Persians. And they happen to start the war on Purim. So it's a lot of reverse psychology going on here. It's a lot of things being initiated based on historical reference points, because for whatever reason, the people that are in charge of starting these wars think that they're aligning themselves with history, but they're not. And the people that's over there in Israel or what they call the nation of Israel, those people are not of the tribe of Judah, like the Ethiopians and the Lembas and the Ashantes and the Bantus. And they're trying to reverse this thing on the Persians this time during something that was historically celebrated as Purim. So that's all I wanted to lend to the conversation based on what we're currently seeing on a more higher, I guess, historical / ethereal type of situation or level. I yield.
All right, all right. I say thank you for that addition, Brother Pollinator. I think it's important that we look at things from all sides and perspectives. Look at the optics, look at the narratives. Things that are being developed. Not this. I can't even say fully or totally that that past interview with the past leader from '79 was, genuinely in the concern and respect of Black people, but we had to look at things geopolitically, and that might have been a power move from that individual in order to garner more support from the quote unquote African American populace here in the States. But we have to use these things strategically. Now, again, when we're looking at perspectives, we talk about FBA, so on and so forth, and different aspects of the vision. Again, it's not going to be conducive for us on a geopolitical level and realm. We're talking about, critical and analytical thinking. We're talking about looking at things, as it pertains to war and tactically, right? It would behoove us to look at things on that type of perspective and looking how we can build and create allies, based on common grounds and interests to help further our agenda, right? Being strategic within that fashion, looking at things in the frame, if I could put it in that, um, metaphor, as in looking at things in chess moves and not continuing to play checkers on the base level of things. All right.
And Brother Moma, you're absolutely correct. And just as a point of clarity, this is the way countries and nations actually operate. So you're right. It may not have been the actual concern, but the way politics or the way nations and countries work and operate, they're going to seize the time. And so that means if leverage can be enacted based on a statement or whatever, and it can provide support. This is why we don't have what one would call leadership, for lack of a better terminology. Because remember, we reported a couple of weeks back that Father Paul Washington, who was a very not only well-known representative in the clergy for Philadelphia, he was known nationwide. And it was he that broke through that embargo. There was literally an embargo that the United States had against travel to Iran. And in 1980, he broke that embargo and went there. So we used to have people in this country that legitimately and genuinely cared about our people and would talk with people in order to make gains for us. So again, he was in the position to do that and did it. And then we talked another time about Reverend Leon Sullivan. He was another one. So now we look at today and say, who do we have in certain arenas that literally and actually and genuinely represent our interests? And you're going to come up pretty much with a zero all across the board. So again, you're absolutely correct with that analysis that sometimes it's not so much about them really caring to the degree that we would like, but it is about being smart enough or astute enough to at least to make a political move that's going to be advantageous. And like you said, if we're not positioned, if we're not ready and mentally capable of engaging in those kind of ways, we will not only miss opportunities that are positive for the advancement of our people, it'll literally lend to our further destruction if we are not prepared for the future. And what did Brother Malcolm tell us? It is going to be those of us who are educated, and he wasn't talking about going to school education, by the way, who will be able to be prepared
for the future. I yield.
I say. And before we go to our last clip, let me come to Sister Shayla once again. If there's any,
Oh, thank you, thank
Mhm,
you. Now I
mhm.
can hear you. I had a problem. I really liked the clip that you shared. I'm following this war because I'm in Europe, so I am being impacted also because of that economically. And we were talking about propaganda. Yes, I know this channel, Democracy Now. They try somehow. They are some more or less leftist or something like that, and even the clip, because I also follow other channels where people were talking about, oh, the hostess, the black hostess, they were freed or something like that. This is my point of view following politics and a lot of stuff. I think, generally saying, we must pay attention because all groups on this planet Earth, yes, who have a kind of power, they instrumentalize our suffering, right? This is my perception, and a lot of stuff. I don't agree with the position of the United States right now, but I cannot say that I agree with Iran 100%. Yes, the point is how they instrumentalize. There is a black Afro descended population in that country, and they are treated very badly. Very badly. They are also descendants of enslaved people like we are in the Western Hemisphere, right? What this guy said about Islam being a religion of peace, it's not true. They do jihad, they conquer other people, they enslave people. In fact, these people, they enslaved us. I'm not talking about the Persians or what they are ethnically. I'm talking what he was trying to tell to us. Oh, the blacks are what's the name? Oppressed. Of course, they know that, but they oppressed black people there. Someone spoke about Cuba. I can speak about Cuba. Of course, we know what they opened the doors for Asara Shakur and everything, but it's because she was a famous lady, right? And she embraced socialism. It was not because she's black, because black people in Cuba, they live very badly. They have no rights, they are not in power, they are mistreated. Their chance was, okay, we will fight and we will try to rebuild this country because we suffer under other the maybe right wing Cubans. And once the system changed, the black people there today, they live poorly there. So what I see, we as a people collectively, we have no power. I think it's almost impossible that you, although you have more voice because the position of the United States in the world, yes, you will be highlighted as black people if you are an activist or something like that. But you are not a nation. You are not organized as a nation. I'm talking about black states in the United States. You have no power to have certain allies, to have allies. We have to have something to offer. We don't have. You also don't have that. I'm talking about politics. We start this conversation about FBAs and everything. I think we must pay attention that they instrumentalize our emotions because we are hated everywhere in this world. Yes, no religion save us, no Muslim, no Christians, nowhere. Of course, we can try as an individual. This is what I know about the history of Malcolm X, what I love and respect. But once he went to I don't know, to this Muslim country because he was a Muslim, he had a perception that maybe the way how he was treated there because he was a famous guy. It was not because he was black. Every Muslim black people who go to this country, people have been enslaved by these people for 3 years ago. Black Africans, I mean sub-Saharan, what they call sub-Saharan, trying to come to Europe, they try to go through this not the Arabs, but North Africa where they are Muslims. They were beat down and murdered. It's not a fact what this guy was saying. Yeah? So this is what I think. We must just pay attention because they instrumentalize our pain because we suffer. We want to be acknowledged in the respect and love, and this is also a trap. Yes, the ones who have the power to deal with this as a lie, because resources are the folks on the continent, because they have something to offer, they can bargain. But we, as these political and disorganized minorities on the Western Hemisphere, we have no allies because we are within nations. Yes, we are a part of these nations, and we will be on the bottom of everything if they attack you or if they attack where I am or etc. Yes, this is what I want to share.
So I just want to add a little sidebar to that. Thank you so much for that, my sister.
Oh
But
yeah, excellent perspective, and thank you for that addition, especially being able to come from the international perspective on that.
but
Most deaf, most deaf.
I do want to add something as quiet as it's kept. So where Sister Sada was well known after uh, a few years of her being there, it is a fact that Cuba did, in fact, allow a few other political prisoners to be in exile, and they were not known, and that's why we don't even talk about them because I mean it wasn't a big deal or it wasn't as you know out
Publicized.
there, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So I'm saying that to say there was a relationship that enabled some of our people here in the state, sister, who were considered to be Black Liberation Army people. They literally did stuff like Dr. Matula Shakur and others. They were very, 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 very active in certain things. And Cuba did allow them a safe haven at times. And that's a fact. But I definitely agree with what you said in terms of in all of these countries there's classism and there is a disdain for darker complexion people, which is why this issue of being Black is perpetuated because people all over the world, particularly of a darker hue, have always or have for a long time been, treated in a certain kind of or mistreated in a certain kind of way. And so it has been, continued on over the years. But again, I just want to provide that little bit of clarity because in this particular situation, I can tell you for a fact that there were entities within Cuba that were political and did certain things to support political people here in the US.
Oh,
Right.
thank you for sharing this information also. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would be remiss if I did not.
And thank you for those additions, Sister Shayla, as well as Sister Empress. And also just to point out once again, some of these actions that have been taken could still be politically motivated and not so much for the overarching, well intent, well being of Black people in general. Because one of the things that was mentioned is, the fact that, some of these people were famous, which is why they were treated in the manner that they were, not the fact that they were Black. And then the other aspect is because, some of these individuals embrace socialism, which is another factor that weighs into some of these actions or some of the quote unquote support. But ultimately, keeping these things in mind, not jumping ahead of ourselves and not playing ourselves, but playing the game, right? Being able to leverage certain aspects to provide further development, further growth and development, further progress for our people. You know, and Sister Shayla also pointed out some very uh, some facts, pertaining to our place on the world stage. And once again, the need for us to continue to organize into a body that will have, uh, a place on, governmentally within some of these arenas within the world stage, which is why it says Empress, continues to beat the drum on plebiscites and pre-plebiscites and to be able to engage within certain interactions in the UN and things of this nature, so that we actually can have a place and a space, so we can actually develop a type of nationhood, develop types of societies, so forth, so that we can enter into these world stages. And we do have precedences that have taken place in the past, such as the Republic of New Africa. Okay, so we do have these examples that we can utilize to further our agenda. The need for a national Black political agenda. things that we've touched on previously, family. So these are the things that we need to be rallying around, finding these common grounds, these common goals and objectives that we can collaborate on. Again, dealing with aspects of unification as opposed to division, because doing the math, it's not going to add up. All right, us being divisive amongst one another and fighting internal battles is not going to add up to the multiplication that we need in order to fight battles on a global level. As which was indicated as far as melanated, highly melanated people, black people, native people, Afro descended people being subjugated all across the globe, whether that be social politically, whether it be religiously, whether it be a combination. And don't let you be black and be a woman. Whoa. Okay. So we have to look at all of these different aspects and all these different perspectives and see, how we're going to, begin to come together, dealing with aspects strategically, with analytical and critical thinking to help us get to the next stage, get to the next level. All right. And so to help us progress not only now, but decades and centuries into the future. All right. So thank you for those additions. Once again, I got one more clip I want to play, and then we can get ready to. Oh, matter of fact, did I come to Brother Pollinator? Did you have anything else to add on that before we move forward?
No, I'm enjoying the conversation. Let's get to the next clip. That's fine. I'm good.
All right. Yes, sir. All right. We got one more clip to play, and this is our aspect of ethereal inspiration. All right. So let me go ahead and share my screen, family, one last time for this evening before we get ready to close out. And thank you once again for joining us for this episode of the EtheReal Journey podcast. And this is Masterpiece, the poet, with Becky.
To those who think the term Becky is a racial slur, the term Becky isn't racial, it's historical. Black women have been hysterical behind losing their Black babies to white women in plantation homes, yet breastfeeding and raising their own children only for them to grow up and steal our Black men. For them to say we cannot share the same water fountain, yet we share the same areola, gentrified our milk and somehow processed that we are not the soil God made us from. Somewhere in Alabama, Mississippi, South Carolina, Becky is using her long, bona fide tresses to secure an African-American male who has left a void in his household to tend to her submissiveness. To escape the resilience of our tongue, the defiance of our spirit, he has left a footprint of fearing that one day the queen he thought he was ready for would dethrone him in his kingdom, so he feels more safe with her. Feels like she will suck and swallow his ego and give it back to him. Feels like she ain't gonna challenge his authority, like she ain't gonna give him a taste of his own medicine. See, this has nothing to do with race and everything to do with a reminder of how challenging it is to pronounce our names, how subtle our hair grows toward God, how we've begun differentiating skin tones to color spectrums. The lighter you are, the closer to freedom he can be. I agree we shouldn't use names to identify any one race, but history has called us niggers, pickaninnies, and darkies. We were once called out at slave auctions with names like Sally, Sarah, Molly, Mary, Becky, as if it were a privilege to even have one. So now, when we say our names, they have weight, they have meaning, they have the hand of God in its creation and wisdom with every enunciated syllable. So yes, when our men are afraid of their shadows, when the smell of our sweet peach reminds him of where he came from, Sankofa, Jinami, rice, diamonds, Oshun, Ashanti, Kente, cocoa butter, hot combs, cassava, head wraps, bonnets, when he forgets twerking is an African ritual dance and not sexual entrapment, when he cannot recognize the ankh, the dialect, the wardrobe, when he cannot look at me as his Black queen and see himself for the king he truly is, well, he better call Becky with the good hair. But this ain't got nothing to do with race. Y'all all right?
All right, shout out once again to Masterpiece Poet at One Poetry with Becky. Let me stop my screen share there, family. Let me come back to you all for any questions or comments on that piece of ethereal inspiration with Becky.
Wow, what can we say? I mean, that just spoke to it all. Truth to power.
All right. I say, Sister Shayla, anything to add on that?
Yeah, this is true. The whole complication that we go through. I know there's a whole discussion about the interracial relationships, right? Black men with white women, especially in the United States, there is a discussion about that, how we forget our history. And I'm not saying that people they shouldn't interact or stay with who they are. Um, but so just to share with you, if the situation in the US is bad, so it's a perspective, an outsider perspective. And from the diaspora, you are the ones who interact with Black women. If we have relationships, because the others from the diaspora, so we have no chance as Black women with Black men. So you are good. Keep taking care of your queens there. We as women or men, we must try to be better, but the situation is not so bad. Black men and Black women in the United States. So when I'm there, I'm always surprised because I see a lot of Black children, right? And even in the dysfunctionality, something like that, people at least they come together because others are diaspora. They are whitening until we will disappear. Literally.
All right, thank you for that addition, Sister Shayla. You know, let me come to Brother Pollinator. Any additions?
I'm just gonna hit it real quick. You know, I always appreciate someone that uses their creative, artistic abilities to bring forth a message, and that message that she brought forth was powerful. And on the spoken word tip, you know, I love all aspects of our way of communicating to our people, whether it's through our culture of, you know, hip hop music, R&B, even now music with the 16 nominations, or not music, but movies with the 16 nominations that that movie Sinners was getting. So anytime we can actually bring forth a message that can resonate universally with all people, you know, I love it. And that sister hit it all points, you know, spoken word, blah, blah, blah. And I love it, you know, because I feel within myself that that's how we have to reach out to our people as well, because the politics ain't going to do it. The religions ain't going to do it. But somebody that speaks something out of their heart that's been given to them or downloaded into their avatar to bring forth a message, you got to appreciate that, because that's coming from the purity of that person's heart of being righteous and trying to put out that information in order to inspire somebody. So with that being said, I love that clip.
All right, excellent. Thank you for that addition, Brother Pollinator. And yes, I love that piece. You know, I just got familiar with the sister, so I just wanted to share that, and I'm going to be digging in a little bit further to get some more of her works. All right. And, you know, just to once again, family, to highlight some things that are happening within our community, that's happening within our families, our relationships, and how, again, we're played against one another. Ultimately, you know, it's not accidental and not coincidental. It's intentional and it's being orchestrated. Okay. And so it's the destabilization of the Black family, ultimately, okay, at the end of the day. All right. And so this has been put in place in many different fashions, many different factions. All right. And so we, you know, just being cognizant of that and understanding that we have to fight even that much harder to make sure that we're able to bridge you know, some of these differences, build these bonds, all right, and to be able to develop healthy relationships, okay, and you know, with these understandings that we are intentionally being targeted to be able to disrupt black love and dismantle Black families. All right. So those who are practicing, you know, other types of relationships or alternative relationships, that is what it is. But ultimately, if we're going to continue to develop as a people, you know, to be able to transfer generational wealth and things of that nature, then we are going to have some type of solidarity as it pertains to the development of our relationships, especially when it comes to procreation. All right, and the continuation of lineage. So with that being said, family, we're getting ready to close out for this evening. And I thank you all once again for joining us for this episode of the EtheReal Journey podcast. All right. With that being said, first and foremost, I'm going to give thanks to the Most High Creator. Matter of fact, let me come back to you all. Final thoughts, closing remarks. Excuse me. Let me come to you all for final thoughts, closing remarks before we close out for this 38th episode of the EtheReal Journey podcast. Let me come to Sister Empress first. Any final thoughts or closing remarks before we get ready to close out, Sister Empress?
Okay, here we go. My mic was closed there. Okay, so yeah, another great ethereal journey. I want to thank everyone for sharing with us, being with us, traveling with us, and remind you that, of course, on Saturday, this edition of New Day Resurrection Liberation, we're now approaching our 19th straight year. And this week is going to be really interesting. We'll have Dr. James Garrett with us, who was, in fact, the student, one of the students that was a part of the first establishment of Black Student Union on a campus 60 years ago. He'll be joining us. He is, of course, now an attorney doing international work, but he's going to fill us in on SNCC, okay? Because this being Women's History Month, of course, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the great Saint Ella Baker. Well, he was in SNCC. Yeah, he was in SNCC. And he's going to tell us about how the Black student movement developed, of course, with Sister Saint Ella Baker being key and others. So he'll be joining us on Saturday. He's going to also share with us some of his trips. He's come back from Vietnam as well as Namibia on some projects. He's going to talk to us a little bit about that and a few other things. And also joining us again for Women's History Month, we're going to have joining us is Sister Elaine Riddick. Now, when we talk about genocide, needless to say, for those who are not familiar with Sister Elaine, you're going to be very, I think, it's going to be very thought-provoking because we talk about genocide in different ways. Well, she's going to talk to us about how in the 1940s, 50s, and I dare say even through the 60s and the 60s, our women were forced to be sterilized. Legally, trickery, and unfortunately, she was one of them. And so she has, over the years, been speaking out against different aspects of genocide through manipulated sterilization as well as abortion. But she is a powerhouse. She was, unfortunately, sexually abused when she was 13, became impregnated by someone in their community, and her grandmother was illiterate, and the system told her that they would help her, meaning they didn't have money to the degree to help see Sister Elaine through the pregnancy, so she had to turn to the state. Anyway, the state said, well, we'll help you, but you got to sign this thing, and the thing was, we'll sterilize you. That's the only way you're going to get this help. So anyway, Sister Elaine will be with us to tell us about her journey and what has happened to her, and how she found out that she couldn't have any children, and discovered what happened, because she didn't know that until she got married and wanted to have children. Okay. All right.
All right. Excellent. Thank you for that addition, Sister Empress. Coming over to Sister Shayla. Final thoughts, closing remarks.
Thank you for allowing me to be with you. I learned a lot. I hope I could share some of my experience. It's always amazing to be with you. And on Saturday, I will come back.
All right. Excellent. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate having you, Sister Shayla. All right. Coming over to and let me get one more for Sister Empress for that addition as well. And I joined in at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the next presentation of New Day Resurrection and Liberation. All right, every Saturday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. To get more information, you can email nationalmwm@aol.com. Again, that's nationalmwm@aol.com. All right, over to Brother Pollinator. Final thoughts, closing remarks.
Yes, indeed. It has been a great show. We're building, we're growing, we're evolving, we're transcending, and we're ascending. And I just want to encourage the EtheReal Journey audience to keep on working on themselves, continue to know yourself, get to know yourself, turn inward as opposed to outward, really dig into your shadow work, deal with your trauma, deal with your pain, and transmute it, alchemize it to your prosperity, success, and all the good things that comes when you're in alignment with the universe. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Be in alignment, get your balance scales to correct, your stability as well as your synchronicity in alignment with the universe. Bass, play your bass within yourself, play that music within yourself as you continue to heal from all of the things that have happened to us as a people, and go forward in your journey, your ethereal journey. So I just want to say thank you to all the good, righteous, and beautiful peoples that has come on board to support and give us the love that they've shown us in the EtheReal Journey podcast. And I'm going to say upward, forward, onward, UFO. And the evolution will continue to be televised next Tuesday. The evolution, EVOL, spelled backwards, is love. And our love is going to continue to shine through our frequency, our vibration, all the radiations that we can radiate to you, as well as our wavelength. So tune into this frequency, tune into this station next week, the EtheReal Journey podcast, 8:00 p.m. on Tuesdays. And with that being said, shalom and one.
That's right. All right, family, you're closing out for this evening. Thank you for joining us once again. I want to thank first and foremost, of course, the Most High Creator Creatress. All right, thank you to the ancestors and the elders, those who have shed blood, sweat, and tears and paved the way to allow us to be here today. I want to thank you all. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the love. Thank you for those who tapped in on our YouTube channel, those who tapped in on the live on Facebook. All right. Thank you for your time, energy, and effort, dedication, determination, and discipline. I bid you all truth, justice, peace, love, freedom, power, protection, divinely principled purpose, and prosperity. I want to say, let us continue to strategize, organize, and mobilize. And finally, I want to say, Pamoja tu Tashenda, family, which means together.
Together,
we
will win. Upward, forward, onward, UFO, good people. Shalom.